can get started.
Absolutely, funny. Glad to see almost 6,000 people on the session. One of the, I think, largest session we have during the weekends. So glad to see all of you guys. So much energy, even after having lunch, even after having that 5 hours of intense session. That's amazing. And as Sunny said, he just made you afraid a little bit. So this is going to be intense, but not that intense. I'm going to give you a proper exposure of automation, how we can build automations using no code, low code these days, and we are also going to build an automation from scratch, right? So this session is divided into two parts. One is we are going to take the complete theory, fundamental, and second, where we are going to build or have a hands-on experience about automation. Now, um, something important here, guys. So these 6,000 people would be composition of techies as well as non-tech, right? When he was addressing techie people as well, right? Now, since it is about automation, about APIs, integrating data, connecting things, we will consider both type of audience, so everyone get like included in the whole journey of the automation itself. And second is for some people who are techies, it may be a little boring when we are going through the theory or the fundamentals, but they are very much essential because see, this automation or AI learning is like a how we learn how to drive a car, right? Or a bike. Once you learn it, you can take it anywhere, right? So that's where I'm trying to make a context that if you learn the fundamentals, if you understand how things are working, how they're connected, and how you can automate a complete process end to end, then you can automate almost anything what you want in your personal life, in your business, right? So essential important factor is we should emphasize on fundamentals. If you know already, you can take a walk, you can take a coffee break, or maybe a nap. That's all fine for me. And once we are into the practical part, we should have complete focus, full attention. I would not say 100%, but 200% attention on the screen because there is going to be like very basic nitty-gritties, how to map values, how to build the logic, and so many other things. So, are we good to start? Do I have your commitment for at least next 2.5 hours of undivided attention from you guys? Okay, okay, amazing, great energy. Now, who all think theory can be a boring thing? Fundamentals, right? We are going to run through like almost 40-50 slides, and that whole thing may be boring. So, who all think theory is boring? Yes or no? I see many of the people are thinking yes, but without theory, we can't build amazing practicals, right? When we were in school, we were learning physics, chemistry, math, bio, so many things. Theory is always important. But I don't want to make this session boring, so let's start with some sort of a quick, I would say, a demonstration, a quick experiment with the automation. And once we are good with that, once you know like how automation is working, what it can do for you, then we'll get into the theoretical part. How does that sounds? Okay, let's get to the things itself. So guys, what I do actually is this is one of the basic automation example, but very essential for anyone who is working into day-to-day social media posting. We all wanted to have, let's say, our personal presence, our personal brand to be established on social media as a thought leader. Maybe you want to share certain updates, certain, let's say, news or something, anything, right, about our stuff. As well as if you have your business, and that can be a startup business, that can be a like any sort of business, right? You may want to create that business presence as well on social media. Now, what are the key platforms? So essentially, we have a couple of web platforms which we interact with day in day out. Something like Facebook, as well as Instagram and LinkedIn. So what I thought is, even for myself or my clients, if I have to create a post on social media, it can take good amount of time and effort, right? But with the help of automation, I don't waste hours and hours of time and effort to create images, to create good content, and even to post it. It all can be done with the help of automation and a combination of AI. So what I did is actually I created this kind of a Google Sheet, which you can see on my screen now. And this Google Sheet, I just have to put my ideas over here. Whatever I want to create and a post around, I can simply put things over here. This idea can be a large, long idea which is defined with based on like requirements or some factual content, or it can be a basic generic idea as well. I can also refer certain information over here through links or to some sort of external databases, external sources. Now, what I do is I just have to click on this button called Run Automation over here on my screen, and it is going to populate content or I would say a beautiful post content well curated for these three platforms, Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, as well as it is going to create me a beautiful image around this particular topic, and then it simply say content is ready for review. So let's give it a try. So if I say generate content and I click on run automation, let's see what happens. The task which used to take hours and hours of time can now be done in minutes. See here, it's already started working. It says working on it. Let's wait for maybe 5-10 seconds. And the automation which is working behind the scene is going to interact with ChatGPT, is going to interact with DALL-E, which is one of the OpenAI's model for image generation, and will create a beautifully created or crafted content over here for this particular post idea. Now, what is post idea is? It says it's a premium corporate gifting solution brand, which is called Gifter, and the requirement is we wanted to create an engaging corporate focused content where we are like selling Diwali delight gift hamper for 200 rupees per kind of a packet or gift, and we are offering this thing before Diwali to all of these people. See here. So this post content is created by AI by ChatGPT, and see Facebook post content comes out like this with all the beautiful emojis, all the structure, even couple of hashtags over here. Instagram is good, and then as well as LinkedIn altogether over here. Plus, it would have generated a good image, I assume. Let's give it a try. Let's see what kind of image came out. Perfect. See here, a good gift hamper kind of like fundamental image which says spreading joy for this Diwali with your team and so on. Perfect gift hamper, and even it has bulk order available, perfect for candles, hardware, I think handcrafted premium decorations and so on. So this kind of thing can come out in minutes, and I can do this with any of the ideas over there. Now, what it says, it is ready for review. And in case, if I wanted to change any of the attributes over here in this entire post, see here, something went wrong. What it says in case of Instagram post content, it says hashtag Diwali 2023. Why it is so? Because ChatGPT had data until 2023 only, right? It is trained or having the knowledge base. I supposed to change it to 2025, right? I just made a change, and now I can say approve and create post. And in no time, it can take this entire thing to my Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn straight up without me touching any of those platforms. So let's see the magic. See here, it's already working over here. If I go to Instagram, let's click refresh for this particular page. Okay, did not came yet. Wow, it's still working on this particular automation. Let's give it a more refresh. Perfect. See here, in no time, this post came out just 9 seconds ago, which is like now itself, right? With all of these hashtags, and even I changed the hashtag for Diwali 2025, which got connected over or connected over here. Same way, if I can go to link to Facebook, let's see what happened over there. I can see lots of love and likes are coming in. Great. Okay, see guys, this post came on just now on Facebook as well without me touching this platform itself. And finally, if you go on LinkedIn, let's see, I'll go to view profile, I'll go to post section. Wow, someone already liked it. Amazing, you're so fast. See here, just now this post came out of this Diwali show appreciation to your team, gifters exclusive branded light hampers for 200 rupees and so on. The well curated point by point content came out. It's all like because of the wonders of prompt and the whole requirement that I mentioned over there. But see, this is beautiful post coming out in no time. Right? And obviously, if you train this like, let me see who liked it. Who's the guy? Okay, Joydev Devnath, it's super fast. He found out somehow, like his profile and everything. But yeah, see here. So this is the power of automation. And imagine if you had to curate or craft this post, even with the help of AI, you had to do it manually, right? And this would have taken minimum of at least 2 to 3 hours. While you craft this image, you try, retry multiple times with GPT, as well as to curate content along with the AI by different prompts and printings. But over here, I can do like whatever number of posts I want, whatever number of content I want to generate, this can be done in no time, in seconds. So this is what we are going to learn how this entire thing happens, why these systems are working, how they're interconnected, how we maintain quality, what is API, how we are using GPT, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything behind the scene with the help of automation connectivity. And let me even reveal you what's working behind the scene. So this is called a make.com automation workflow, which is taking all the requests even for content generation as well as content distribution. My request to you guys, do not try to create account with Make because I have something surprise for you. So here is a magic link which I'm going to reveal when we will start the practical session. And this link is going to give you approximately like 10,000 tasks free of cost with Make.com when we start the practicals. That time we'll create this account. So do not try to create your account for now, right? Are we good to get into the fundamental part now? Are you guys excited to see how all of these things are interconnected and how they're working together? Okay, plenty of yeses coming in. So let's get into the boring part. Don't feel sleepy by the way. It's going to be little expensive, little in depth, but we'll set some context and also we'll get into the practicals in middle of the slides as well. So a quick disclaimer: many times I take these sessions and people come later on and they say, Manish, I missed on one particular step, or I missed like how you connected this thing, that thing, or how to generate API keys and all. Request, please put your undivided attention. Even if you miss out a single thing, you will be in trouble. You will not be able to find out or you will not be able to recognize or recover that. So please put your 100% attention. In case if you wanted to take, let's say, some notes, pen paper is good, or you can take a screenshot. So that's there. And apart from that, this is just to set expectations. See, automation or AI, these kind of things are like they are time taking stuff, right? When you learn them, it requires good amount of time, effort, and energy or dedication you put in there. I'm into this field for a couple of years, and that's how I became the person who's teaching you or who's mentoring you things now on this class. But the whole idea for this class is not to make you master in one go. The idea is to give you exposure to automations, and then you can start discovering or let's say start exploring yourself, right? So just try to imagine or try to grab it like a good exposure you're getting about automation, which is building tools or is coding with the help of AI. Now, what we're going to cover here over here, one is obviously what is automation. Why we do automation? Because many people figure out or they even don't understand why or how they wanted to automate certain things in their business, in their day-to-day life. Right? So we have to set up some context about it, why we are even doing automation or what is automation all about. Then we'll see how the coding-based automation looks like, how the no-code things look like, what is the difference between these two, as well as popular automation tools. There are plenty of options available these days in market. And then we'll have a quick introduction to Make.com. I'll show you why even I choose this particular tool, features of Make, and then we are going to build a complete automation workflow, which I showed you at the start of the session, like this entire demonstration, that we will build over here in this session live. I'm going to do it with you. Right, so in case you have two systems or maybe extra screen or something, if you're on a laptop or desktop, you can try doing this with me. Not recommended, but in case you are pro, you understand things quickly, then you can please do it alongside. That's all fine. Now, who am I? So my name is Manish Mandot and I'm the founder of GrowStacks. So far, we serve from GrowStacks almost 2,000 clients, 2,000 businesses across the globe. Major focus is with US, Europe, UK kind of, Australia kind of countries because they are early adopters of technology, early adopters of software, good processes, and now AI and automation as well. So the core focus is currently over there. We are gradually moving focus to India as well, serving Indian businesses. Me and my team built over 10,000 automation workflows in the last couple of years. I'll show you a couple of good automation workflow real use cases as well. And we are a Make.com Gold, but now a Platinum partner with Make. So one of the leading company in automation, local, I would say, across the global level. Right? Now, let's get into some realization point. Let's try to understand what we do in day in day out and why we even need automation. Right? If we look out our life, if we audit our life, see what you find is either you are a working professional or a business owner, you have to perform certain type of tasks. Let's say these tasks can be divided into, let's say, if you're working in marketing management, you have to perform certain tasks like do ideation about a marketing campaign, then generate content, do that content publish, generate leads, do that report analysis, and again go back with your improvement, with your findings to ideation part. In case you went to finance, you have to handle invoice creation, accounting, payment management, even stock updates, and so many other things. In case if you are into sales, operations, or business management, you have certain tasks defined for you, right? So everyone has a particular responsibility, and there is a process aligned to it, and you have to complete the process to achieve certain results. Right now, what happens when you start a business, when you start a new role? You feel energetic, you feel really good because you are getting into new responsibility, you are getting into new learnings. But after a certain point of time, when you think you have to get to the next level, you have to uplift yourself, what happens? You find a roadblock because with the same amount of time and effort, you have to complete more. Right? So you take more tasks, and what happens? Your volume increases, but you can't settle down, right? You ultimately like feel okay. Earlier I was doing 10 tasks, now I was supposed to do the 15 things, and I still have same resources. And what happens is you feel overwhelmed, at times we lose vision, and like that's a kind of state, right? We are lost in our day-to-day life, in our day-to-day responsibilities. And why that happened? First of all, this situation is obviously a discouraging situation because why we lose vision, why we lose our enthusiasm, confidence, because things become repeated, right? So if you're doing, let's say imagine a cashier in the bank. If that cashier is supposed to count notes every day, he's not adding any true value to the life. Right? That thing can be done with the machine as well. Right? So repetition becomes a kind of fatigue, it becomes a kind of repetitive activity, a no thing after a certain point of time, and even our humanistic value also goes down. What we are adding value to the particular process as a human. And finally, the most frustrating part is that thing, if you're doing manual again and again and again, that will still consume same amount of time and effort whenever you repeat that particular cycle, you repeat that particular process. Right? Now, what if we could have a robot, if we have some sort of assistant, some sort of helping hand that can help us to get these things done, that's already there. You see, Tesla is building robots, Boston Dynamics is building robots, and we all see humanoid robots are already there in the market. But they can do most of our mechanical stuff, right? Day-to-day tasks which we perform with our hands and with our different, let's say, execution tools. But when it comes to intellectual tasks, there is still one option missing out. So in case you have to create this kind of content, you still have to go to GPT, you still have to go to its distribution channels and populate that content on various platforms, right? It can do anything else. If you have to create a voice, that's supposed to be done by an accountant sitting on the system. So robots are there to help you on the mechanical part, but the intellectual part is still somewhere missing out. And that's what so much frustrating as well, right? So how this situation can be overcome? The simple answer is we can build automation workflows, like obviously not dumb workflows, but intelligent workflow with logics, with rules, with the right process, and that can help us to get to the next level. That can help us to free so much time, increase our productivity, efficiency, save us a lot of time, effort, as well as it can help us to scale ourselves with the same amount of resources or even less resources. Right? You can accomplish more and more. How a cashier can just put the entire bunch of notes inside a machine and he may be able to count, let's say, 10,000 notes in just 1 minute or 2 minutes time, right? Versus if he has to do that manually, it would have taken like 5 to 10 minutes to do the same activity, right? So with the help of automation, we can achieve the next level of scale, next level of productivity. Couple of other benefits, obviously, it makes you better for living 24 by 7 or your ability personality as such, and the whole process becomes more robust, less human intervention, that means less errors. So that's what automation can do for you in your intellectual process. I'm not talking about the robotic part, right? But we need to understand what different types of automations exist in market because when we see there are RPAs there, robotic process automation already being built in the industrial age. So you would have seen footage from any assembly plant or let's say manufacturing units or maybe packaging plants where different machines come together and they do certain activity to like complete a particular task or complete a particular conveyor belt activity. Right? So that is called RPA, robotic process automation. The second type of automation that exists in market is something called computer-based physical task automation, where any of the things which you interact with your system, with the computer, on a recurring basis, or I would say on a kind of manual way, which is predefined, like data entry, like form filing, like any sort of data scrapping, those things are these days getting automated as well. Right? So large BPOs, KPOs, data entry centers, they are doing things automated with the help of controlling the whole computer screen, and things can be automated, these steps can be repeated all the time. And the third part over here, that is what we are going to discuss today, our agenda for this automation, is something called software-based task automation. And this is the intellectual part of the whole automation cycle. Right? So, in case if you're doing any task on any software, we will be able to automate that with the help of the automation tools or the process that we will to learn today in this entire session. Right? So, these are essentially three types of automation. What we are going to talk about today is something called software task automation. Right? Now, from the understanding of or ideation of how any business, any person, any department works, and how the processes are being set up, I built up this kind of basic understanding where I divided things into three era or three phases or three worlds. So about 20 years ago, we were into an age of third world. We were doing everything manually. Like with pen paper, with hands, you have to do certain things. Let's say even if you have to write an email, not email actually, an mail to someone, you just open a postcard and then write it somewhere. If you have to raise an invoice to someone, you open the Khata book, take a pen, like just do your entire invoicing part. If you have to raise a purchase order, the same thing happens in the same way. So everything was happening manually. Then we move to the second world where we are standing today, and this is the era where the pen paper took or maybe taken over by the softwares. So these days, if you perform any activity, that's happening through different softwares. Right? So in case if you have to send an email, Gmail is there. If you have to send WhatsApp a message to someone, SMS, WhatsApp, Telegram can be used. If you are going to raise an invoice to someone, purchase order, there are accounting systems available, there are marketing tools available, there are AI available, and so many other things. Right? So software took place of the pen paper. But we are heading to another advanced world, right? Before that, I would like to do a quick attention check from you guys. How many of you can quickly do this activity? Identify at least one similarity between these two worlds, the third world and the second world. You would have given these kind of quiz, right, in school or maybe in a newspaper, and find difference, find similarities. Yes. Many of you people are identifying really right perfectly. So it is actually the human who's involved into both the worlds. When we were in the third world, we were actually doing that activity, sitting ourselves as a human with pen and paper. Now in the second world today also, whatever we do, we are doing it with the help of with the softwares, but we have to be there. We have to operate them. So even if you're using ChatGPT, an AI tool, still you have to operate that. Now, where we are heading to? We are heading to a complete different world that is called the first world, and that's where things are going to get automated, and we can replace ourselves with any boring, any sort of repetitive or clerical task which we are not supposed to be part of. Right? So, in the first world, things will be taken care by integration of softwares. Software can talk to each other, they can control each other, and even with the help of AI involvement, we can build AI agents, we can build AI-enabled automation workflows. So AI can take care of the intellectual part as well. What our job will be, essentially, we have to supervise things, we have to plan them, we have to build the strategy, and we have to get things done with the help of AI and automation. So that is going to be the actual work of a human to apply brain and build value. So that's where we are heading to, and that's what we are going to discuss today. How we are going to move from the second world to the first world citizens who are automation friendly, who are AI friendly, and who are going to do more intellectual things as compared to the daily platforms. Now, there can be a big question with many of the non-techies, right? At least techies would know how to do, and even you know, Tony said a couple of keywords earlier, right? There's a big question how a software can control another software. Because without achieving that control, we cannot do any automation. If my Google Sheet cannot work with ChatGPT, we can't do that automation that we did right earlier. Or if my Google Sheet cannot talk to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, in that case, we will not be able to post anything on those platforms. So there is a connectivity, there is an important part called connectivity or controlling of these systems, of these softwares. Now, how to control them? Because so far, what we know is something called UI. Like how I'm doing anything on this particular screen, I have a keyboard, I have a mouse, and I just keep on moving things here and there. So the slides are keep on changing, right? But without me touching the system, there should be some way. Otherwise, you'll not be able to build automations, right? So essentially, there are two ways to control any system. So far, what we know is something called UI, the user interface. Right? I'm a user. Who's the user? The human, the person who's sitting on the system, is actually a user, and there's an interface built for them. Let's say whatever you want to do, certain actions on a particular software. Interface is there, buttons are there, certain actions are there. You go click on them, and they do certain things for you. So that is called user interface. But at the same time, there is something called a hidden door, a back door, or there is a more in-rooted way of controlling systems that is called API. And what is API built for? It's called Application Programming Interface. So when any application has to connect or control any experience software, then it's supposed to use API, not the regular keyboard, mouse, and these things, right? Because they're not humans, they're not users, right? So other systems control any system using the API method. And you already heard like API key or some sort of API documentation with ChatGPT with AI and so other tools. So this automation part will be done completely using the API. We are going to ignore fully the user interface. Like you don't have to interact with any of the UI as such. Now, how many of you recognize this particular screen? Which software is that? Quickly on the comments. But giving the right answer. It's actually the Gmail which we use day in day out in our regular life. Now, about Gmail, we have certain things available over here. So, for example, in case you are writing email to someone, you can simply click on write new email, click on this compose button, and your window will open where you can put the to address, subject line, some sort of content, and then hit send, email will go. In case if you have to, let's say, marketing, email spam, delete, or some sort of other actions, you can do here. Reply or emoji or something, you can do right post like that. So this is a good example of UI. This is how to control Gmail with a user interface. But there is another method that we talk about that is called API. Now let's try to understand this with a very basic day-to-day life example. What is API and where this stands for, or what API does actually. So in case, let's say, if you want to eat something, you're hungry, you go to a restaurant and you order something there, right? To whom you're going to call? It's actually the waiter who you call and you say, I want to eat something, right? Waiter has a menu card which says, okay, I have all these dishes available, which one you want to eat. Then you place an order. Waiter confirms that order, and this waiter takes this order to the chef in the kitchen, right? Chef prepares the order, give it back to the waiter, and then waiter is going to deliver the order on your table. So essentially, this waiter who's coordinating between the chef and you is something called API in word of like when we are interacting with different applications. So imagine this: if you're operating Gmail, this kind of a UI, this Gmail is not hosted on your local system, right? It is working somewhere on a cloud-based server or somewhere on the California or let's say New York-based server where Gmail or Google servers are hosted, and whole email service is being operated from there. But how do you interact with that? You sit on a browser. When you open your Gmail, you say, okay, I want to send an email. The Gmail says, I want to address, subject lines, and body content, maybe some sort of attachment if you want to add, and then hit send. As soon as you do that, the browser request will be taken care by the API, which is sitting just behind the browser screen. This API validates all the details, and then it sends this whole detail to Google servers, the Gmail servers, which are sitting on any other country or a particular data center. The Google server also checks whether the request is good, ready to process, you have all the authentication authorizations available. If yes, it is going to give it a shot, it will complete the request, give confirmation back to the API, and API finally present that particular request as successful, completed, email sent, and so on your browser. Right, so this is the whole hierarchy, and the middle layer, which is the waiter, in this case is called the API. So now imagine if you can directly interact with the API or with the waiter, you don't even have to go to the restaurant itself. Right? These days you can directly go to it with something called Swiggy, Zomato, those kind of platforms, or any instant food delivery applications. So those apps, what they do, you don't have to go to the restaurant. You can directly talk to the creator or let's say the preparer of the particular dish or the particular goods, what we want to order. Right? So that is what API does first. Now, do you guys want to see a quick live demonstration of API? How it looks like in the real life? Quick yeses on the chat. Okay, perfect. Many people are getting in. Let's see here. If I open my Gmail, let's say a typical Gmail inbox, and this is something called Gmail for our company. It's Ultimate Roasters, what we have email address. Now, on your keyboard, if you have a key that is called F12, right, function 12, if I press that, see what happens? There is a window opens up like this, right? And within this, there is something called network. So what network does, whatever requests are being exchanged between my user interface, this particular UI, and the server are being tracked over here. So if I just clean it up for now and see, if I click on this particular email, see what happens. Just to open this email to grab content, these many API calls are being fired from my particular screen, and within the milliseconds or let's say nanoseconds, they all got fulfilled by Google server, which says, okay, I want to see this content. Here is the content. Here is the entire payroll report, so and so. There is attachment and everything. But see what's happened. What happened behind the scene? These many API calls, almost 100 plus API calls, were sent from this particular screen to Google server, and in no time they all were responded by Google server with this particular, let's say, information. So what they did actually, if I zoom in a little bit, see here, it says the request is being sent to mail.google.com. Here is the entire URL. The request method is post, one is okay, that means like it got the information, there are a couple of headers and so other things. Right? There is a payload, there is a preview, response, and so other things. But it is not humanly possible to like just decode everything from here. And even 100 API calls is too much. If I compose an email, see what happens. Let's say let's clean it up. I send an email to someone, let's say Manisha Cross Tracks, and I'll say hello. See, while I'm doing this, so many things are happening behind the scene. And if I just click send, furthermore, API calls are being triggered right behind the screen itself. And this is not limited to Gmail, it happens everywhere. So if I click on this one, let's say for example LinkedIn, I press F12 over here and I simply go to my profile. Okay. See, these many API calls with LinkedIn.com and then certain API endpoint, and this is how it is getting all the information connected with the main screen with the UI. Now, how this is being possible, and what if we can hijack this API part? Then you don't have to go to screen this kind of interface, right? I don't have to click anywhere. It can straightforward come and then simply pick what I want to choose, any action, and I can get the action automated. So either I can go to the hijacking method, or what these software companies did is they realized like people wanted to automate their things. People wanted to automate their email, their LinkedIn, their respective things, right? Not limited to only these platforms. What they thought is instead of hiding APIs, instead of making them like behind the cover, we should help our users, we should help our customers to automate their actions, to automate their, let's say, whatever API uses they wanted to do. So what they came up with, they documented this entire API part in a very neat, clean way on their websites or somewhere on the footer section or something. And there you can go, and if the software company provides you API access or if they have API available, they generally disclose that API documentation. So without hustling into this F12, this entire navigation and all, users can directly go and access to those APIs, learn about them, understand about them, what, how to use them, what is the usage, charges, pricing, and so other things, and then automation can come into the picture. So essentially, where you can find the API for any particular software, the first source is the software company website. Now, either you can go to the home page at the footer section, or maybe there's something called API section, developer section, resource section, and there you can find the API documentation. Or if you don't find it there on the website, then you can do a simple Google search. So for example, if I wanted to search for Gmail APIs, I can just type in Gmail API documentation. See here, I already have something in search, and there it goes, it says developer.google.com, Gmail API overview. So if I click on this, let's see what happens. See, I got this whole Gmail API overview coming in like this. It says the Gmail API is a custom API that can be used to access Gmail mailboxes, send email, promote your application, and so on. So, what are things I can do with them? What are modules can be controlled by the API, such message, thread, label, Even draft can be controlled from there. And in case, if I wanted to go with a specific endpoint, a specific action, they are all mentioned over here. Right? So let's say if I click on create and send email, I can simply go to create draft, send email, and so on. And that's how we can read, understand, and use this API documentation. Right? See here, all the methods, everything is being done like this. Now, how the API look like? I just showed you different endpoint, different actions that you want to take inside any system are denoted by different methods, or how would I say, let's say different tags. So let's say in case if you want to work with Gmail, what we can do with Gmail. Before that, we have to understand one more very basic fundamental. See, if you're using any particular software, that software has an objective, like why it is being built. So for example, Gmail is built for sending or exchanging emails with someone else. WhatsApp is built for, let's say, exchanging the messages. In case you use LinkedIn, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, they are built for social networking, where people can do post and those can see other people's posts as well. So essentially, every software has an objective, has a goal to achieve. And along with that, they also have like what is the underlying task they are doing, or what is the underlying activity they are focusing on. So mostly it is a single activity, what any software will focus. So that particular activity is called a record. For example, in case of email, the email is a record. So when you send an email to someone, there is a new record created inside Gmail database, right? Or if someone else sends you a mail, they actually create a record inside Gmail database, and then you will be able to see the particular record on your screen. If you're creating a post on social media, every post is a record inside Facebook's database or LinkedIn's database, right? The people can see it, they can access, and they can review it. Like different functionalities are different things, but we are talking about the database level. So what API helps us is create or control all of these records right from any software database itself. So for example, if you want to create a record, then there is an API method called post method, right? And records can be inserted created inside the software. For example, if I have created an invoice inside my accounting system, that means I want to create a new record which is called invoice inside my system. Then we can view or retrieve the record which is already created inside the system. We can update them, we can delete them, we can search with a particular given criteria or conditions, or we can list multiple records and finally even certain more advanced method that is called backup. So in case if any record get changed, get updated or created in some system, we can also get notified through any other system like any other automation workflow. So that is called backup technology. So essentially, these many things can be done by API. And believe me, these are the only actions which can take inside any software. Just try to think yourself. Let's say if you're going on Facebook, what are the things you can do? You can either create a post, you can view someone's post. If you already created a post, you can update the content, you can delete them, you can search someone's post, and that's it. Right? Or you can list all the posts which are related to particular keyword. Same thing applies to email, same thing applies to Google Sheets, same thing applies to any accounting system, CRM, or any software you use in your day-to-day life. So that's what APIs can do. And even more than that, just to reveal you, APIs are directly enrooted or connected with the software architecture. Right? So if, for example, if you're on the Gmail screen, you see very limited options which can be done over here, or maybe on Facebook, Instagram, somewhere. But otherwise, if you're using APIs, you can do much more than this. Because this Gmail screen has to be maintained in a way where the user experience goes really good and you don't have to be like suffering here and there, multiple options, multiple things. So they have to maintain the human user experience. But in case of API, it's all coding, it's all backend, it's all done by the applications. So you don't have to bother about maintaining a particular experience or particular, let's say, way of working. It can be done like with much more functionalities directly straightforward into the softwares. So that's what APIs can do with the system. Now, another very important question here: do you have to pay for API? Why this question comes? Let's try to understand first. The fundamental is, if imagine I give you a task where I say you have to send emails to 500 people manually setting on Gmail interface. Let's say you go here, click on compose, put to address, put subject line, put the whole body, and send emails. In an ideal situation, it will take you 1 minute for every single email. Still, you will end up spending 8 hours without any break to send those 500 emails. Right? But what if I tell you, use Gmail APIs and so send those 500 emails. This can happen in less than 10 minutes as well. Because softwares, we can add more and more functionality, more capabilities, more servers to get things done, and we are directly working with Gmail APIs. So essentially, it is just creating records inside Gmail. As soon as we push any request, it will be sent to whatever number of people wanted to run through. So with the automation, with the API, the whole thing, which used to take 5 hours, can be done in 10 minutes. But what will be the implication of this? Imagine if everyone or most of the people start doing that, the Gmail servers will get extra load, so much of the extra load, and they'll not be able to they may burn out, they'll not be able to handle that much things, right? So what most of the software companies say is, if you are using our API for the automation purpose, the first limitation or the first concern for them is you become limitless, you can do much more in less time or much more usage of their system. And the second is they're giving you additional functionality, additional facility within their system, so you don't have to come to their respective user interface, no need to open the software, you can get things done automatically. So most of the companies, when they come up with APIs, they say we are going to charge you something, or we are going to put certain cap or certain, let's say, threshold on the usage of API itself. So all depends upon different software, the provider of the software, or the objective of the particular software, that whether they want to charge any extra money, any extra fees for the API, or they wanted to simply go ahead and say, okay, it's fine, you can use it for free, right? So different models are there. Essentially, we can categorize them into three parts. One is called the free, second is premium, third is called paid. Right? So, in case of free models, you don't have to pay anything extra for the API usage, but still, software companies do a close watch who is using how many of API calls and whether system is being abused or is being used in a good faith. Second is a premium thing where it is included within your regular plan where you pay for subscription, let's say a CRM or something, or they can limit number of actions and after certain amount of time they want to charge for it. And the third is APIs are chargeable, fully paid, where software companies do not give you any API usage. They say if you want to start using, you'll have to pay money for it. So essentially, see here a couple of things. Free examples are Instagram provide free APIs for business account. Facebook also provides for pages, business account, or professional accounts. In case of Zoho CRM, they don't charge you any extra money for API, but they include that into their regular subscription. And there are plenty of such examples, right? So you can just go and explore like which software has what kind of pricing. Second is premium is a good example of Gmail itself. For free Google account, they discourage the usage of API, but still with certain hacks you can try to or you can get the access of personal Gmail account API as well. In case of G Suite, if it is a paid account, the API access is pretty straightforward. One click, APIs will be connected. And the paid examples are over here. You can see WhatsApp Business Cloud. So if you're using WhatsApp Business official API, you have to pay for every single message you send or receive using WhatsApp API, or SMS services, or any AI model, GPT and all. They are all charging for API from the first request itself, right? So you have to pay money while you're using their API accesses. Now, let's go back to this Gmail example and let's try to access or understand their API documentation. You can see here what happens. It says you want to send an email using APIs. It's all there. You can see there are two ways to use Gmail API. One is called send.message.send or draft.send. If you have something in draft, that can be sent directly, or you can create a new message and that can also be sent directly from the Gmail API. Then it says emails are supposed to be in base 64 URL encoded within the property of message resource and so on. And then furthermore, when you come here, it says if you want to create this message or use this Gmail API, there are two ways how you handle this or how you can get this request done. One is you can go with a whole Python script. And here is the endpoint of this API. Over here, it says import base64 from email.message, import email message, and so other things. Now, some of you people would wonder, Manish, this is plain English. We can read this, but we can't understand this because it is all written in a Python language structure, right? No worries, there's something called Java as well, right? So, in case if a Java family, you can go here. But again, most of people will say, we can read this, but we are not the coders. We haven't learned Java or Python or any other coding language in our life. And because of that, we can't use this entire API structure. Whatever is being written here, it's all alien language. We don't understand this, we can't use it. And that's absolutely right. Now, some smart folks will tell me, Manish, we have the power of AI. We can simply put this entire thing into GPT or Cloud or somewhere else and make this code working absolutely for us, like whatever way we want it. We can get the help of AI. Still, there is a second roadblock that even if you can figure out this entire thing, the whole message, whole structure, and everything, you will still need some sort of a server, some sort of a escape hosting that where this whole code is going to run. So there has to be a server, there has to be a machine, there has to be some sort of cloud facility which should run this entire code. You should be able to maintain that, you should be able to overview it, error handling, and so many other things. And that's a big roadblock because most of the people do not have the proficient knowledge or expert knowledge of coding languages, and as well as you can't put the tech infrastructure and even maintain the API connections. So, what can be done in that case? You have all heard a good saying over here. I mentioned it's called आवश्यकता आविष्कार की है. There's something called necessity is the mother of invention. And that's what many people found almost a decade ago before being started. So people found, or some entrepreneurs, some good minds, they found an opportunity in the Western world, obviously, that software companies start publishing API, but they are all developer friendly. They are all written in Java, like JavaScript, Python, Java, and so on. At the same time, there are users, there are people who are either SMEs, small businesses, individuals, entrepreneurs, professionals who wanted to automate their things, who don't want to touch their software but get things done, but still they don't know such things, like they don't know how to operate API. And there is a middle layer that is called developers. So you can go freelancers, you can go with IT companies, automation companies, or developers to get these things done. But most of the time, you may find it your assignment or your project is too small. Like something what I showed you now itself. You wanted to make a social media post content and publish it across all the platforms. But this use case you can't take to a developer, you can't take to a big IT firm. You cannot even take it as a project. Or freelancers can do a job, but not reliable as such. So what can be done in this case? And there are plenty of people who want to automate their things. So how to build something which can bridge this gap where non-tech people can come and they can build their own automation solutions. So that's where the emerge of no-code, low-code automation tools happen. And here are a couple of popular names. We are missing one of them. I would love if you can comment here. But starting from here, there is something called Zapier. Came in market almost 12 years ago. Was one of the initial leaders in the market and currently used by almost 3 million plus organizations across the globe. Then there's something a later trend called make.com, but because of its user interface, the whole experience and the whole easiness, this took a good pace in market. And again, the second market leader, I would say, these days. Make is a Czech Republic company acquired by US-based company, and now it is flourishing to the level. Microsoft also joined the race. They launched something called Power Automate. Then there are other platforms, Kissflow, Automate.io, Family, and so on. Can you guys tell me which most popular platform these days, at least from last 6 months, I'm missing here? Yes, most of you are right. That is called N8N, which took a good hike. This is open source as well. But took a good hike because of their AI agentic capabilities. I did not include that here intentionally because I want to check who all are aware. But there's something called N8N. Now, all of these platforms, and even if you do a quick Google search, you may find more than 500 such platforms available today in the market. But you have a big question like, Manish, how should I choose which platform is relevant for me or which is right for my business, for my learning, for my automation needs, right? What I did is actually I created 4 basic points what you should always consider before choosing the right automation platform. The first one is reliability. Why it is important? Because when you start automating things, it's kind of a fun activity, right? You can just automate certain fun project, basic level things and all. But after a certain point of time, you realize that automation is actually working out for your business, for your process. It is saving you time, effort, money. Then you start building automation for your critical processes as well. And in that case, your business has heavy dependency or critical dependency on that automation platform that you would have chosen. So reliability is very important because it's as good as like you are hiring a new person, or I would say the most important person in your team, and that should appear every day in the office. If it doesn't, that your business can collapse or it can just get on a point. Second is pricing part. Always think long term. So how much it is going to cost to run automation, to build automation, to engage any professional, any sort of builders, or how much I have to spend for a day-to-day management of this entire automation platform. If it is less than human effort cost, I would recommend to go with automation. If it is more than human effort, I would always recommend hire someone who is a human instead of building automations. The third step is the platform should be easy to learn and understand or even use as well. Why so? This is another very, very important thing you should give a good emphasis. See, if you choose a platform which seems good, but you can learn it, let's say you almost 6,000 people over here in this call. You guys are first mover, you guys are initiative taker people, right? You can learn technologies quickly, you can learn this entire automation quickly, but what happens after a certain point of time? You wanted to scale automations within your own business, or you want to hand it over to someone else. And imagine if the platform is not handy to learn new things. What happened? By the new people. What will happen? You will get into a trap, you will become an automation engineer in your own company, in your own department. Because there is no second person who can take responsibility of automation that you built or you wanted to get built furthermore in the future. Right? So always think of platform which is good, easy to operate and understand by the next people who are going to handle this. And the last part is obviously scalability. So these days, AI and various tools are taking a good pace. Every day there is something new coming in, which you may want to implement in your business process, and your automation tool should be able to accommodate that particular new tool which is coming in or new software which is coming in into your process. If it doesn't do, then your process will be broken. Half it is automated, half you are still doing it manually. So even when you choose softwares, try to see if they have APIs available or not. The first question. And second is, does your automation platform has capability to accommodate that particular software APIs or connect with them and you can make that particular part also working automatically. So these are four very, very important points we should always emphasize on. Now, from my whole experience, what I chose for this particular class, for this particular teaching, is something called make.com. Not because we are made partners with something, like generally it is a good platform to start your automation journey. And after that, you can take it to more complex platform like NFM or Microsoft Power Automate or something else. Right? But to start your journey, you should have a neat, clean interface. You should have a easy to understand modules, easy to understand structure, and kind of versatility. Right? So because of that, I chose Make. There are obviously a couple of other reasons. It is almost 20 times less expensive than Zapier. It got custom API connectors, it got easy data handling, complete visualization, and so many things. So we are going to see this in next session when we have hands-on experience on Make.com building this automation workflow. Now, just to set one more clear context or expectation, you should know what can be automated and what cannot be automated. Why important? Because if you try something which cannot be, you may end up where you see, I think automation is not for my business, not for me, not for let's say my processes, right? Because you may be trying it on the wrong wall itself, on the wrong direction itself. So always think of a couple of points. First of all, you should always check if your software has API available or not. If it does not have, you should not or essentially not be able to build a seamless automation workflow. That is one thing. Second is, alongside this, you should also have a repeatable process in place. Let's say if you're trying to build something or maybe automating a process which you have to execute only once a month, then there is no point in building automation there itself. At the same time, finally, you should have a process in place. First is repetitive process, and along with that, you should have a process. Now, what do we call a process? Something which has a predefined rules, steps, logics, conditions to follow to achieve a predefined outcome. Right? So that's why I say you should have a process first and then try to build the automation. If you don't have a process, you directly get into automation platform and then you'll be doing two things. And that's a good recipe for failure, I would say. If you go without preparation, there are two things that happen while you're building the automation. One, you have to think about all the logics, all the condition, all the thought process, how to and what you're going to build. And second is, will be applying mind to build the actual automation itself. and it's a dangerous combination. Don't ever do that. It will be good waste of time, effort, money, and even your motivation as well. So always first build a process, build a complete flowchart, some sort of a document, have clarity what you're getting into, and then go and touch the automation platform itself. Now, what cannot be done or what cannot be automated? Wherever you have human decision making, you need any sort of human intervention, reviews or something, you should not build automation, otherwise it will be unnecessary extra lag where you have to go and again do the same activity. Or if the software APIs are not available, don't like try to build automation, try to find out another software for the same work which has good API docs available. Finally, a quick checklist of the automation. Some points are repeating here as well. You should always build a quick checklist of all the softwares, all the apps that are involved into a particular process. Check if the APIs are available, and the second check if the APIs are paid or free. Sometimes I saw some software cost you, let's say, a normal subscription, $10, $20 a month, right? But when you go for the APIs, they will charge you $100 just for the API access. And that becomes invisible, right? You don't want to spend that much money just to access the API part. So in that case, always check APIs are available and APIs are available for what kind of pricing, free, paid, partial, and so on. And finally, you should also build a good flowchart. Maybe pen paper is more than good. You don't have to do with fancy flowcharts, but have logics, steps predefined, and then get into the automation workflow. Now, with that being said, we are done with the theory part, and I hope I did not bore you, but I hope you are still awake, not asleep. Who are awake? Just comment awake. We are. Yes, awesome. Great. Very lovely folks. Amazing guys. So let's get into the practical part of the automation. And what I can do is to start your automation journey, I can share you a make.com link over here where you can create your account and get 10,000 operations for free. And this will be able to start. There is no obligation. You don't have to attach any credit card, any payment method or something. And we are also not going to get any benefit as such. It's just a partner link which makes you to all the gold partners, all the platinum partners, where they can share for any new onboardings. And feel free in case if you wanted to change the automation platform later on, go to Zapier anytime or maybe Power Automate, wherever you want to go, you can do. But for now, in case if you want to build this automation along with me or you want to experience automation, you can go with me. Okay, that's a quick recommendation. Now, let's get into the space. So I can open a new window and here's the link that I shared with you. So I can just come here. Now let's say the link goes like this, web.com, register, and see here, you will see something called special offer, get one free pro plan, and so on. Again, I'm telling you, you don't have to pay anything. You don't even have to like attach any credit card or something. It's very straightforward. Go and sign up. I'll tell you more about the like how your long-term journey goes and what make offer you. But essentially, there are a couple of ways how you automate, how you sign up over here. One is called Google sign up, very straightforward. You can do Facebook sign up as well, or GitHub if you have if you're a developer, you have GitHub account, you can directly log in from there itself. Else, you can put your name, email, password, and then there are two important things which you should emphasize on. The first is you see something called hosting reason. Now, what is this hosting reason and why we have to choose this? So, you all would have heard there's something called data security law or data, let's say, protection law and so on. So, different countries, different territories have their own legal framework or law related to people or business data security. In case of Europe, there is something called GDPR. In case of US, there are plenty of them, something called SOC 2 or there is HIPAA compliance and so on. So Make is a platform which is working with most of these developed countries, and what their government want, what they want is, if you are dealing with US people, with US healthcare record, US financial records, or US people data, you should keep that data into US based data centers, US based servers, right? If you're dealing with Europe, you should follow GDPR compliances, and data should be maintained within the European territory itself. So in those two territories, those two geography, if you are coming from there, and if you wanted to comply your data security along with these law, you can choose the right territory. So you can choose US or you can choose European Union over here. Right? In case if you're from Africa, Asia, any other part of the world, in that case it does not make any difference. You can choose any one of them. There is no difference in terms of pricing. The features, speed, experience, it's all the same, right? It's just about the data security or data hosting on that particular basis. Now, along with this, you should also choose your country. Why it is important? Because this country is going to define your time zone. Imagine, let's say, if you have to send an email to someone every day at 10 a.m., or maybe you want to post a social media thing every day at 10 a.m. But whose 10 a.m.? Is it India time? Is it US time? Is it UK time? Or so on. So based upon your country selection, the platform will follow that particular time zone. So if I select India, it's going to follow Indian Standard Time, which is my actual time at 10 a.m. If you select US, it's going to be like your midnight, the postal world, right? So essentially, you should follow these things very much important. Now, once you're done with this, you will land on an interface or dashboard like this. Let me open here. Okay. Now then, perfect. See here. So once you are inside mail.com, you will land on an interface like this, where see this entire dashboard and a couple of important things. One is this dashboard has the plan information which you may have, and there are two chart and graph which are available over here. One is called operation, second is called data transfer, and this entire line chart shows you your day-to-day usage, like how much you use this platform on a daily basis. Now, there's a key term that is called operations. I'm going to give you a quick, I would say, understanding or assignment. You should tell me the answer of it, right? So let's say I have a process and I'm your client, right? For example, let's say I'm a client, I come to you and I say, I have an idea which I parked inside a Google Sheet and you have to do certain things for me, right? Your job is to tell me how many steps you will have to follow to perform that whole activity. So what you have to follow actually essentially is I say I parked a particular posting idea, maybe some sort of thought inside a Google Sheet. Your job is to go to the Google Sheet, grab that particular idea, then create me a good looking post content, create me good looking image, and then put good things back into the same Google Sheet for my website. What do you think? How many steps you have to follow, or how many different tasks you have to follow in that entire process? Can you guys quickly comment? I hope you got understanding, right? It wasn't that difficult. Okay. Many people says 4, 5, 3, 6, 7, 10. Okay, getting it. Perfect. The great. I really appreciate you have all involved. You have participated like this. Good, crazy. You have good attention over here. So the answer is essentially four steps. Why four? Once I book, let's say once I post something in the Google Sheet as my idea, your job first of all to get into the Google Sheet and grab that idea text. Right? So you have to get it from the sheet itself. Second is you will go to the particular AI model, it can be GPT, it can be something else, put it into the prompt to generate something for social media. Right? That's the second step. Third step is you have to generate an image from that idea content along with the prompt, whatever you created. So image generation for that. And the fourth part is you have both content as well as image. You have to put this content image back into Google Sheet. That should happen like obviously once. So these are four essential steps you have to follow to complete this whole process. Now, what Make does is Make essentially is going to do the same thing to you. Is going to talk to all of these softwares, pass the data, pass your idea, prompt, everything, and get things done across multiple systems. So what they say for each of these tasks, each of these steps to follow, they call it an operation. Operation means we are interacting, executing certain things with that particular software. So what they say, whatever plan you choose, whatever these 10,000 credits you have, operations you have, these are essentially 10,000 tasks you can get executed by a main platform. And then later on, if you want to buy, you can buy and so on. So this chart or this graph indicates is I currently have total 20,000 tasks or operations available with me. Out of that, I only consume 2,895 credits or tasks being consumed to do certain activities, certain automation workflow that runs on my account. Not necessarily only the social media, it can be anything else. So it can be something like, let's say, invoice creation, it can be something about email management, and so on. Various things are there. So this is what it says, how many operations I have and how many I consume. Now, along with this, make also track the data transfer. So since how much data is being transmitted while you perform all these activity, all these software exchange. So that is being also tracked. By default, I have 10 GB of data. With every 10,000 tasks, you get 5 gigabytes of data transfer. But you see here, even if I consume 14% of the total operations, it is just 31 megabytes of data being transferred, which is almost 0% of the active usage. And it remains hardly 1% or 0% all the time because most of these applications are working with content-based data, not any multimedia as such. Right? So that's what it should. Now, in terms of users, you can onboard whatever number of people you want from your organization. You can see here, I onboarded many of them. So Make does not charge you anything for your number of users. It is all bothered or concerned about number of operations being used on the platform. Right? So we are charging only for the operations. You can add whatever number of users you want on the platform as per your wish. And everyone can work on the same account. You don't have to create multiple accounts if they're working in the same department or same company. Then there is something called subscription, something important over here. So by default, Make has a free subscription forever, where it gives you 1,000 tasks for every month, like endless lifetime. So you can even automate your basic things for free. You don't have to pay anything to Make. In case if you want to go with any paid plan, you have higher usage, you can go with a basic plan for $10 for 10,000 tasks to be done, right? Or $20 like $18 for 20,000 tasks and so on. So I have organizations as my clients who are even using 4 million, 5 million tasks to be done every month. And they are paying about $5,000 to make every month basis, right? So if they have to hire someone to perform those many activities, this would have cost them even $50,000 a month. So those things are being done on that scale where it's being used. Now, along with this, they have a couple of plans as well, core plan, pro plan, teams, and enterprise. You essentially don't have to go with any of them. The main idea is you can have 99% of the tasks done with the core plan itself. So even if you choose to pay to Make, you can simply go with core plan. You don't need pro or teams or enterprise at all. Right? So just do that. It's kind of cool. Now, once you're done with this, you there is something called scenarios over here. So scenarios actually are automation workflow that we build inside Make.com. And that is the most important section where we should go and look out our automation workflows, build them, manage them, edit them, and so on. So if I click on here, let's have a look. See, many of the automation workflows are currently already turned on. See, by default, they are wherever it's called toggle on, it is turned on, and otherwise, most of them are also turned off as well. Okay. So essentially, you can toggle them on and off right from here itself. Then Make gives you a folder level structuring. So over here, you can put any sort of folders by department, by people, by process, and so on, and everyone can park their respective automation workflows inside the particular folder, right? So they can have this kind of a structuring for proper management of the workflows. Now the most important part comes in. Here is a button called Create Scenario. So this is the most important part where we are going to interact with Make. We are going to build automation workflows and will get things happen not in manual but into the automated way. So I click on this, see what happens. I got this kind of interface which is completely blank. There is no structure, no pre-given format. It is full blank. Nothing is there. A blank canvas. You can draw anything you want, and that's why we chose Make. You will see like gradually how to build automation, how to interconnect things. Essentially, here you can put your scenario name. So I can give it a name. Let's say um, demo scenario for class on 17th August, something like this, right? So this is the scenario name I gave. You can give any other name you want. Then there is a placeholder to start this, where we are going to connect the first module or the first start point of the entire automation workflow. Then there is something called relevance, which is the first kind of button. So you can click on this and the automation workflow can run. There is something about name, about save, some sort of settings over here, and so on. Right? So if I click on this button, you see I can choose like from multiple applications, I can choose which one I wanted to set up as a trigger point or as a start point for my automation workflow. You see, plenty of different apps which are well known to you are available. There's something called Airtable, Google Sheets, OpenAI, Facebook Pages, Instagram, LinkedIn, Intercom, even Microsoft Outlook, Teams, Google Docs, many more things are there. Even Reserve kind of payment gateway are also available on here. Right? If I wanted to search a specific app, out of 2,600 pre-built application on the.com, you can just go here, click on search app, and let me just type in Google, for example. See, all the Google apps, more than 30 different apps are connected over here. Something called Google Plus, Google Sheet, Google Doc, Google Drive, Map, Keep, even Chat, Phones, Tasks. Some of the applications you have not even heard of names itself, they are also available over here. Google Shopping is there, Google Translate, Analytics 4, PubSub is there, Google Cloud Store is there, and so other things. Right? So just typing the name, you will find it. For example, if I wanted to go with Microsoft, because many of the people who have Microsoft in their regular business or in their companies, they can also use Microsoft application as an integration over here. Starting from Teams, there's something like Outlook, To Do, Power BI, and so on. So plenty of regular use applications as well as enterprise level application like Dynamic 365, Power Automate, Advertising Console. Many things are available right here itself. So you can choose any one of them. Or if you want to work with CRM, let's choose CRM. And more than 110 CRMs are available over here, including one CRM on the spot, iDrive, S1, so many other things. Just choose whatever you wanted to work with. Right? So this is the start point where we can get to see different applications. They are pre-configured and we can simply click on them, set up the right module, right trigger point, right mapping, and automation can go live in minutes. Right? You don't have to essentially think about APIs, about the code coding, the Python, JavaScript, Java, or something else. You don't even have to think about that. It's all taken care by the big automation engineers, and they already created everything behind the scene. So your job is to simply interconnect and have a process flow in hand. So what do you guys say is, shall we start building an automation or are we missing something? What do you people say? Most of say yes. What we missed, someone says we missed something. We should have something in hand before that, right? What do you say? People are excited, okay? You guys are like, let's get into the zone. I told you, if you don't have planning, if you don't have a proper preparation, is you will be end up doing two things together. One is you have to think about the flow, and at the same time you are building that whole flow. And that is, I would say, deadly combination. You should not do that. Otherwise, you will not be able to build automation even next 5 hours as such. So what I did is actually I created some sort of a document, some sort of a visualization where we can build a plan, we can have understanding what we are getting into, what kind of automation we want to build, what are the like conditions, steps, logics, everything, and that automation then once we have understanding will come to life on Make.com. So what I did actually is, and not necessarily I should do something like this beautiful, but let me grab it here. What I did actually is I created this kind of a Canva whiteboard where I plotted my whole automation requirement. Now what is my requirement? I wanted to create an automation which generate content for my social media posting, and that too it should automatically create posts on my different social media platforms. Now how this is going to start? See, it is a thought process. You should be very careful about when you think about the process itself, right? So it is starting with me having an idea. Let's say I want to create a post about my brand, about a product launch, about any thought I want to share, or something else, right? Something. I have an idea. I wanted to pass it to AI to generate two things. One is content, second is image, and then once it is generated, it should go out on various platforms like Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. You may say, remote platforms available like you have YouTube there, you have Pinterest, you have Reddit, and so on. We can even include them, but essentially for now, we are just going to focus on three popular platforms: Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. Right? Then what is my tech stack going to be? Like which all tools software I'm going to use? So essentially, first of all, I have to define where I'm going to park these ideas. And even before that, we should think about like when we're talking about ideas, these post idea, right? There is a problem with this idea part. I can get 10 posting ideas in next 10 minutes in my mind, or I cannot get any idea in next 10 hours or even next 2 3 days as well. So, what is the condition? Should I write those ideas somewhere and then I can reuse them later on, or should I, let's say, instantly post everything? 10 ideas come, next 10 minutes, let's create 10 posts and then forget everything about for next 10 days. Right? So, essentially, I need to have some sort of an idea storage where I can park all these ideas. Even I can park all the generated content, review it, and then make it go out, right? Or even track my posting schedule as well. So what I thought is I can have any sort of pen paper thing. I can have a note taker, notepad kind of application, or I can choose something like Google Sheets, where Google Sheet I can build any sort of dynamic custom structure of tables, columns, or everything. And it also has APIs available that too for free of cost. So what I chose is Google Sheet as my idea hub, as my entire automation tracking hub, where I'm going to put all of these interactions. Second is I chose OpenAI for my AI requirement, AI need in this entire project. So essentially, why OpenAI? Because it has two capabilities. It can generate images as well as it can generate good quality content. And they both are coming from the same AI service or from the same AI company. So that's why I chose OpenAI and the two ChatGPT kind of models, which are very known, popular, available in the market for everyone. Then we have something called Make.com for the entire integration to build up the automation workflow. And finally, there are three posting platforms that we're going to target: Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. But we should also have some sort of pre-arrangement of these platforms. So in case of Facebook and Insta, they don't allow you personal account APIs because they are social media platforms. They expect like real people to be there on the platform who are posting, who are interacting with the content, not the bot, not the AI, right? Or not these kind of automation workflows. So in case of Facebook and Instagram, you can create business pages, business account, professional account, and API access should be there. And in case of LinkedIn, since it is a more professional kind of platform, so it does not restrict personal account to be operated by API, right? So in case of LinkedIn, you can have personal account also connected with the APIs. So these three accounts should be there. Now, at the last, before we get into the automation development, we have to think about certain rules or control point for this particular system. The first one is, do I want, and there is a question as well, I should ask myself while I'm building this whole process. So the first question is, I'm posting on three platforms. Do I want unique content for each of them, or I can generate a single piece of content that should go on all three platforms directly, like as is? The answer is I should have unique content because every platform has its own nature. Nature means like LinkedIn is a professional platform, Instagram is kind of casual platform, Facebook somewhere in the middle of these two. So I can't put LinkedIn content on Instagram or Instagram content on LinkedIn, right? So it should be platform specific. That's why I chose it should be a unique content all the time. Second part is about image. Why we are even including image? Essentially, image kind of post or anything which has a multimedia attached to it, they get more good engagement, more conversions, more let's say conversations happen on those particular posts. So what I wanted is first of all, it should have some sort of image along with the post. And the second is, should I have a single image across all of these platforms, or I should have multiple different kind of images generated specifically for each of the platforms? My thought process, my answer is it should be unique image to pass the same kind of vibe, same kind of message to all these platforms. It should not differentiate in terms of user experience because image is quite common for all of these three. There is no formal difference as such. Then the next thing came to the consideration is something called how many posts I wanted to create every day or how frequently I wanted to create posts on these platforms. Why it is important? Because let's say if 10 ideas come into my mind in 10, in next 10 minutes, if I run those 10 posts, it maybe looks like spamming. I'm just unnecessarily posting on these platforms all the time during the day. And maybe I'm not posting anything on next 10 days as such. So what I decided it should have only one single post every day, irrespective of whatever number of ideas I have or requirements I have. I can schedule them or I can put them somehow into the schedule itself. And finally, I also have another need. I would like to have your confirmation or your thought in this. What I think personally is AI is not mature enough until this point to directly post things on social media. What I wanted is it should need some sort of human review. How many of you think human review is necessary, at least at the day present today? We should have some sort of review, some sort of a monitoring mechanism where we should review AI generated content before it goes out on the social media platforms. Most of you, perfect. That's true. The AI is getting mature every day quickly, but still we should have some sort of a review. Otherwise, instead of building the profile, instead of building the business whole presence, it may even destroy it. So we should have some sort of a human review, some sort of a control over there. So this is how we think about automation, we think about process, and you should always do this kind of a whole thought process before you touch the automation platforms, before you even think about the automation. Always try to define the process first, and then only you will get the results you are expecting from that whole process. Right? So now it is high time we thought about the process, we have all the rules defined. What we should do? Shall we get into make, or still we should do something else? What do you guys think? Ready for automation? Okay, people says make. It's not made yet. Wait. So we have to build this whole infrastructure around this make platform. See, make is the tool which is going to connect multiple things, but it is not going to have Google Sheet itself, right? We have to create this Google Sheet first. We have to create all these social media accounts, as well as we have to get this OpenAI ChatGPT API key altogether. So what we are going to do here is I have the sheet. Let me simply create a new sheet within here, within this file. The file name is called Master Social Media Automation. Let me zoom a little bit so you can see it properly. So the file name is something called Master Social Media Automation Content and Posting version 1. And within this, I'm going to create another sheet that is called Sheet 44. Let me change it to demo for class 17 August. Something like this, right? Now I can start building any kind of a structure what I want from this particular Google sheet. So essentially, if you remember the earlier presentation, earlier demonstration, what I want over here is I should have some sort of a space to park my ideas. So I can go here and put one the first column says my ideas park here, something like this, right? So whenever I have something in my mind, I can simply plug them here. Next to it, when AI generate content for three platforms, Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn, it should put all of those content next to the same idea text. So I can coordinate like which idea was there and what kind of text was being prepared by the AI. So what I can have here is something called Facebook post content from AI. Same way, I can have another column which is called Instagram post content from AI. And similarly, I should have another column that is called LinkedIn post content from AI, right? Something like this. So I got three of my things parked over here. Now, as we saw, we needed some sort of image, some sort of a visualization as well to this post. But when AI creates the image, I can't upload image inside Google Sheet because it's a sheet, it's a kind of table structure, can't have image available over here. Instead of the actual file, I can park the image link over here. So in case I want to see the image or in case the automation has to pick up the image, it can straightforward go here and pick the image from the link itself. So here I'm going to park the image link. Now it has two benefits. One is in case if you have AI generated image, the link can come here, you can review it. In case if you have your own images, let's say you have a graphic design you made yourself, you can park that link over here, just park that image inside any Google Drive or maybe some sort of a cloud storage and park the image link over here, which can be taken up by the automation. So this is what we have as a structure. Now, as we discussed earlier, we should have some sort of a control to this automation. Because if 10 ideas comes to my mind, I can put all 10 over here. But I don't want to process them as soon as they get entered into this Google Sheet. So I should have some sort of a control. Even if I park maybe 10, 100, 500 ideas over here, they should not get processed automatically. I should have some sort of a control in this process. So what I can do is, I can build a control column which is called control column like this. Before I move forward, are we going with a good pace, guys? Are you able to understand whatever I'm extending so far? A quick thumbs up or maybe yes. See, it should not be one way, right? And I know already what I'm doing, but you guys should also grab what I'm doing over here. Okay, most of you are yes, I would say not much. Take it like as a movie or some sort of web series you watch. Just try to get exposure over here. In case if you're not getting it, that's fine. If you're getting it, a thumbs up. Right? Just keep your focus over here. Great, let's get going. Perfect. So we have this entire Google Sheet built up over here like this. In case if you have any other database kind of requirement, if you're processing invoices, maybe emails or something else, task management, you can build the sheet as per your own requirement. But essentially, this is how we build a small database. It can be Google Sheet, it can be Airtable, Monday.com, or anything what you wanted to use. But the structures are going to be like this. Now, once we are here, what I can do is let's make a little couple of ideas from here. So I got some other ideas from my previous automation use case. I can park them over here like this. And let's make it a little formatted. So let's park the text over here like this. So these are a couple of albums that I will brand about the sports shoes. There is a brand called Cloud9 Fashion, and I had to do some sort of posting for them. And there is something called Brand Genius, is a smart kitchen solution brand, and so on. So these are a couple of posts which I did not run through yet, and we can take them as our basic test ideas. Right? Now, along with this, we should also have controlled status, or like what kind of controls you wanted to put into the whole system. So what we wanted is, let me remove it. For example, if I wanted to generate content for this particular idea, I should have some sort of status over here, which is called generate content. If I say generate content, it should create content for this post, not for other ones which are parked over here like this. Then once the content is generated, system should tell me that content is ready for review. You should review it and tell me whether it's good or not. Right? So once the content is ready, it should change the status to a ready for review. Then once the whole thing is done, what system should do next? If I say I'm good with this content, let's go ahead, I approve it, please create a post. Right? So as soon as I mentioned that thing, it should pick up that idea and create a post on social media. So here I'll say approve and create post. This is another selection. Then apart from that, I can have a couple of more things over here. Once the posting is done, the system should change the status back to say posting done, something like this, right? So these are essentially four different status which I wanted to track throughout this entire system. Now, do I have to write them again and again all the time? The answer is no, because Google Sheet gave us some good functionality where I can select our brand, right click, and there's something called drop down. And then here you see drop down can have all of like these menus converted into drop down. What I can do essentially is give them some sort of color. So generate content goes into this color, ready for review maybe a blue, upload and create post can be red, and then posting them can be green. Let's click save and move out. Let me even zoom out a little bit. Perfect. See here. So now these things became a drop down menu instead of I have to type them again and again and again. Right? And let's even convert this entire thing into a kind of good looking spreadsheet. So let's go to formatting, convert table, and now the entire thing looks pretty good to be sent. Let's even change it. I don't do that, but yeah, that's fine. See here, this is how our Google Sheet gets ready, and we have all of these things. Now let me remove the entire structure from here. These are straightforward drop downs available like this. Now, assuming you all have your own LinkedIn account, your Facebook pages, Instagram pages, or business account, we should move into LinkedIn. So let's get into this automation workflow. And here we are starting to build the entire automation sequence. So first of all, over here, I have to click on this and I should choose the right application which is going to give me my idea content. So remember I told you if I give an assignment, I have passed my idea into Google Sheet. Your job is to grab idea from there. So over here we have a module called Google Sheet. And the same way, whatever case you build, you can have any other different modules. It can be like CRM, it can be Google or whatever you want, right? Essentially, I'm going to choose Google Sheets. Now, within every app on make.com, see there are a couple of things available over here. One is called a trigger module. Trigger means if there is an action happening inside your application, the automation workflow can trigger, it can execute certain steps. So it says, what new row trigger when a new row is added. So essentially, this is not what you want because if you're going to choose this particular trigger, in that case, it will, as soon as I add any new ideas, it's keep on going to run the automation again and again as soon as I add something over here. I don't want that. What I want is, wherever I selected generate content, only that particular thing should be filtered, right? Not everything which comes along this sheet. So this is not a right module for me to start with, right? Then we have a couple of other things. It says add drop, update, bulk add. Then search is there, clear, delete. See, these many things can be done right from make.com to your Google Sheets. And same way, if you are operating CRM or something else, there are plenty of things can be done right from make.com to control your software. Now, what is relevant for us is something called search row. Why search row? Because it says return result matching the given criteria. That means we can apply certain condition to this automation workflow to this particular module that wherever the raw status of column F is equal to generate content, only pick that particular line, not everything else. So I can go here, I can choose search row. Now, once you define this module, what you have to do is Link does not know who you are and which Google Sheet you are talking about. So essentially, you have to set up a connection. You have to allow Make to interact with your Google Sheet. But before that, you have to give Make permission to work with your Google Sheet, access that, and grab the data from there. So we have to click on this add over here. By default, you will see there is something called create a connection. In my case, I already have multiple connections created over here. That's why it says add new connection. So I can click on add connection. Fairly straightforward. I will say 17th August. This is something called admin row tax is the account. And see how easy it is to integrate your application with Make. Click on sign in with Google and see the magic. So as soon as I do, it's going to get into this code list. I'll say admin row tax. Continue. One more time continue. And that's it. My connection is done with Google Sheet. Now I can access all of my Google Sheets inside Make.com. So click on spreadsheet ID, then it can list down all the spreadsheets that exist inside my Google account. Right? See here, plenty of them, many of them are probably over here. Now you can either scroll down, choose whatever you want, or you can type in here. It says social, what's the sheet name? It's master social media. See here, master social media is the sheet name what came out over here. So let's click on check this. The sheet came out like this. Now within this particular spreadsheet, I have two sheets available. One which I showed you earlier as a demonstration, social media master download. And the second one which I created now, this is called demo for class 17th August. If I click on this, it's all good. Then it is asking a couple of other things where it says table contains headers. I'll say yes because my table has headers over here, all of them. If I say no, that means this headers will also be considered as a content coming into process. Right? So I say table has headers over here. Range by default is more than A to CZ does not make any difference. There is an important part which is called filters. And see here, if you click on filters, you see plenty of all of the filters, all the column names are available over here. It's like you can apply in column A, B, C, D, E, F, everything. Right? For now, I'm not putting any filter over here, and let's simply click save. And if I run this automation as a test case, let's see what happens. See, now I'm getting all of my idea content or all of the content which I have inside the Google Sheet coming along like this. On the output, there is a bundle one, which is row number 2. Let me zoom in it. See here, I got this content in column A. And this was urban strike or premium footwear shoe brand. Right? And the column plus this entire thing. Then it has column B, C, D, E, no values are there. Control column F has something called generate content. Then there is another column, sorry, another row, which is row number 3, which has brand Cloud9 fashions. Then furthermore, row number 4, which has entire content over here. Now, what Make did is, Make got all the content from my Google Sheet inside this Make.com environment. And since I have it here, I can reuse it into any purpose, like I can build any sort of workflow on top of this content, right? So let's rename this model quickly. The name is going to be idea store or idea infrastructure provider. What should I do after this? I think let's have it like an interactive session. So you already understood so far what we are getting into, what we are getting. So now it's your job. You should guide me how to build this automation workflow. So we have idea coming in here. What should we do next? Which model to use? Quickly on the chat. AI, GPT, OpenAI. Okay. Great. Interactive learning is always good. So see, to add AI over here, what you have to do, simply the small plus button over here, add another module. Click on this plus and we'll have another placeholder like this, right? And this placeholder you can attach to the next module, which is going to be OpenAI. And OpenAI has something called ChatGPT, Whisper, Diary, and so on. See, now we have this idea content, we want to generate certain post for LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta. This GPT or this OpenAI is not same what you use on your user interface. It is way more different. Let me show you how. So first of all, it has the multiple things. You can create responses, you can create a model response, you can have a different kind of completions, moderation is there. You can message to a particular assistant of GPT, custom GPT kind of thing. We can create vector store files. We can also generate image, visualize them, edit images. We can generate audio, do transcription, translations, many things there. See, plenty of them, which you won't even see on your regular GPT interface in the web version. Now, the catch over here is, if you want to use GPT on this particular API interface, so this is not your GPT, what you use, something like this. Now, if I go check GPT, this is my regular interface, so the tab is here, and I can choose whatever I want, I can just type it. This is not the same GPT that we use in our mail.com automation workflow. This is a web version of GPT where I may pay something, let's say currently we are on Pro plan, what's called Plus plan, where we are paying almost 2000 rupees every month to GPT. But still, this can be used only on the interface. Why? Because GPT says, if I give you API access for this 2000 rupees, you will burn out my servers. Like people wanted to do so many things with GPT, maybe through automation, and they can just like send thousands of requests to the KGP servers, right, through APIs. So typically, whatever amount you're paying over here, it is only limited to the web version or this web user interface. In case you want to go with API usage, you have to go to openai.com, and then there is something called OpenAI for developer. See here on the left hand side. So for developer, click on this, and there's something called API platform, as well as API's got a complete different pricing. Okay, so let's click on API platform, as well as let's click on API pricing. Now, once you're on the API platform, you have to click on this and log in. API platform inside there, and you will land on their developer page where it says welcome to OpenAI platform, and then see here it says Python, JavaScript, and Perl, and this is how you have to handle the API request. But since we have power of make.com, power of no code, no code, we are not dependent upon this entire Python based structure. We can straightforward work with no code tools. None of them. So what essentially we have to do is we can choose a right action. In this case, we are going to do create a completion based on prompt. So let's click on this. Now this module we have to configure a really basic connection. So click on add connection over here, and then we have something called API key. So when I go into this, I go to settings. I can generate an API key right from OpenAI developer.com, something called platform.openai.com. And then over here you have something called create new API key. So if I click on this, I just have to give the name. I'll say 17 August plus time key, and I can select a project. This is called default project, create secret key, and that's it. Now API key should come here. Quickly copy this, go here, put this even connection name. I'll say 17 August plus connection. I always prefer to give name, so I know that this connection is taken at what time, and click save. That's it. So over here, we are done with the connection part. It is that easy to create connection with any of the modules, any of the API-based modules, right? Then it is asking me what you want to do. I'll set the create a chat completion. I'm going to send a message to GPT, and GPT should do that particular comment. Along with this, it has flexibility to give me option to choose which model I want to work with. So let's click on models, and you see a long list of multiple models available over here. So right from GPT-5, this is launched recently. Along with this, we have something called GPT-04, O1, and so on. Many of them are available right here itself. So you can choose any one of them. What my first preference is, I can go with something called GPT-4.1, and that too there is a good version called Nano, which is less cost and pretty fast in terms of any regular execution. So I can go with this. Even we find many different models available, right from 3.5, which was exist in almost 2 years back. Right? So that can also be used for 3 years. Now let's go here, let's choose 4.1 Nano. Now why I choose 4.1 Nano, and how does GPT cost me? I'm going to give you another assignment. Keep your eyes and ears open. Let's see here some basic understanding of this. So this is called API pricing. Let's scroll down a little bit and see all of these different models. So recently 5 came, and I hope anyone who's connected with this AI world or AI kind of terminology, you would know when you work with any AI tool, they measure the effort or kind of billing in the number of tokens. So when you send a request, it says how many tokens this particular AI model will consume to fulfill your request. Right? So here, in case of API, what they say, if you're using GPT-5, then over here you have to pay $1.25 for every million token that you input in the system, and approximately $10 for every 1 million token that comes out of the system, right, as an answer. Same way, if you're using any of these 4.1, let's say we choose for Nano, a very economical model which is only 20 cent, which is 10 million rupees, hardly what 17 rupees. If we are considering 85 rupees a dollar, it is hardly 17 rupees for 1 million token as an input, and approximately 100 rupees for a million token as in, sorry, yeah, 80, like, what 67 rupees for a million token on output. If I take a mean or a kind of average, both the price will cost me approximately 40 rupees per million token in and out both. Right? For a million token, if I use an API, it's going to cost me approximately 40 rupees for both in and out as an average pricing. So this is how the costing works. Now, when you start using the OpenAI APIs, what OpenAI says, it is not available for free. You have to pay for it. So where to pay? There is a section called billing over here. So click on this billing part, and then you have to preload money over here. It's a prepaid kind of thing. How you recharge your mobile phones, same way you have to recharge your OpenAI wallet to use APIs. And it will deduct like whatever number of tokens you're using through APIs, it's going to deduct that much amount from your credit balance. So currently I have a balance of $4.86, and see here it clearly says when your credit balance reaches to $0, your API request will stop working. So it's a prepaid model, you have to load money always. The assignment which we are going to do now is, in a minute, is we have to calculate how much does it cost to generate one post content if the pricing is 40 rupees per million token, or approximately like 50 cents per million token, right? So let's go here. We have chose nano model. Now on the configuration part, let's get to message. So message is essentially we have to send a message to GPT, and GPT has to fulfill that request. So here we have to choose which role we want GPT to perform. So essentially there are multiple roles. It has user, assistant, developer, and even tool. For now, we are just going with assistant, and for 99% of those cases, assistant is more than a good role because we can ask you to work like an assistant and fulfill our request. In case if you have any more sophisticated thing, let's say more sophisticated use case, we can do user or developer or tool kind of role, but for now, assistant is good. Then it has something called text content. So it says message GPT what you want to get done. Now, this will have two parts. One is something called a prompt. Prompt is giving instructions or direction for GPT to do certain request. And second is our idea content. Now, when we're preparing it, like no one said we should prepare a prompt as well, right? So what I did actually is I created two prompts over here. One is for content generation, second is for image generation, and I built them like this. So what I said, you are a professional social media content writer who specializes in creating a platform optimized post for these three platforms. And there is a good guy called Alex Hermosi. He has developed a couple of good marketing workflows or some sort of strategies. So I asked you to follow this Alex Hermosi style and then write the content for these platforms. Writing principle should be like lead with the value, use pattern to interrupt, create curiosity gaps, and so on. Hooks should be like this. Platform specific comment. So Facebook post should be conversational, engaging, encouraging, and discussing post should have 1 to 2 emojis and maximum 150 words. Then Instagram should be something like this, casual, vibrant, visually describing, and then 3 to 5 emojis and relevant hashtags like this. LinkedIn should not have almost any emoji, 0 to 1, maximum 200 words. And then we wanted this entire output should come into a JSON structure, so we can map all of these individual values into respective platform or into respective Google Sheet columns. And then finally a couple of more guidelines and so on. And here we say the content idea that I wanted to create post about goes over here, right beyond this point. So this is how we wrote a complete prompt. Let's copy this. Let's create it here, paste it, and see the whole thing came like this. Now, this is the only prompt part, but we get to connect our content idea, our post idea, and where that is found inside Google Sheet. So if you click on this, see the outputs are coming from column A. Here is the whole post idea. Now, with the make or with these kind of tools, see the beauty, how easily you can connect things. So I go here, I post in the entire prompt. Now, if I click inside this box, let's see what happens. If I click on this, there is another pop-up menu comes in, and it just says you have your idea column over here, column A. Simply drag and drop over here like this, and that's it. What you have to do. Whole prompt remains static all the time. This content is now dynamically mapped right from Google Sheet, which can be like whenever you have a new idea, it can keep on rotating the new idea and it will generate post for you. Right? This is how easy it is to work with these kind of platforms. Now it has max notification token. I'm not bothered about it. Let's remove. Show advanced setting. Here we have response format. We have JSON object. So let's go to JSON. Parts JSON is also good. And even beyond that, there are certain things. It says temperature you can set over here, top probability, number, frequency penalty, presence penalty, small other things. So you can list down or maybe configure any one of them if you want, or your use case is more sophisticated. Otherwise, we are good to go. So let's click on save over here. Let me rename this module as well. The module can be, I'll say, content creator. Now, if I do a quick test run, oh, before that, I forgot actually something important. See, currently we're getting all of the posts coming out irrespective of whether they have generated content as a tag in column F or not. Right? To restrict it only to get only the generate content over here, if something is mentioned generate content in column F, only those things should come out. So what I can do is, I can go here inside the Google Sheet, I can simply put a filter like this, which we discussed earlier if you remember. So in the filter, I'll go and select something called column F is equal to generate content. Right? Now this particular module is going to give me only the generate content marked or tagged raw, that particular data, not everything else. So let's click on save. Let's right click, run this module only, and let's see what happens. See, now earlier I was getting 3 ideas. Now it is giving me only one single idea where the column F status is equal to generate content. And now if I run this whole thing, let's see what happens. This gave me the whole idea content, one only, and now it is creating content for all the social media platforms. Perfect. See, results came out. Here it says for Facebook post, urban professional wear introducing metro roller shoes, latest women's sport shoes designed for city and so on. Instagram content is over here, and LinkedIn content also came out like this. Right? So in seconds, in no time, it generated me 3 beautifully crafted social media post content. Now, the assignment comes in. You have to calculate the cost of generating this post. Now, I'm going to reveal you how many tokens it consumed, and what you know is already it is charging us 40 rupees in Indian rupees or half a dollar for 1 million tokens. If I click on this usage, see what it says. It took us 1125 tokens. Now, can you guys tell me quickly how much is the cost for generating this post? How much we spent? And let me go and calculate on my thing, on my side. Wow, someone says 1 rupees, 40 paisa. Okay, $2. Some people are just playing around. Let's do a quick math. If you have 40 divided by a million is almost what, 6 zeros, and then multiply 1125. So I'm taking this into rupees. Click on this. See, it cost only 4 paisa, like 4.5 paisa. If you see here, this is not rupees, right? So this is how economical it is to generate any post content using GPT. It's like insane. In 1 rupees you can generate 25 posts, right? That kind of economical stuff. So that's where the whole thing comes in. Obviously, when it's a little image, it can be a little more expensive, maybe 10 paisa, 20 paisa. but still worth saving a lot of time while you're working with the APIs. So this is how much this cost. Now the next one, what should we add next to it? Quick guess, any direction? What should we do next to it? Guys, quickly on the chat, we have already generated content. Now it is time to generate image. So for image, we can go simply back to this OpenAI, and over here we have something called generate an image. Now you have a question, can we use Danny, can we use Runway or something else? Absolutely yes, you can do that. But for now, for this entire class, I'm just focusing on ChatGPT itself. So let's click on generate image. And as soon as you do, you don't have to create connection again because both the things are coming from the same service you can provide. So connection is already there. In terms of model, I can go with the latest model. This is called Delhi 3. Then it's asking me for the prompt, so I can go here, back to the sheet. I have a image generation prompt here, which says generate a high converting scroll stopping square image 1080 for social media. Visual psychology should be followed. Design framework, color strategy, technical specification, style, and so other things. Right? And then finally says here is my actual input or the idea on which I want to generate this image. So let's scroll up towards the top. Over here, paste everything, and now you know how to connect this particular idea. So as soon as we click inside the box, we have this idea content over here. Paste it like this and simply click save. That's it. I can rename this as maybe image creator. And finally, we have to add all of these content inside Google Sheets, right? So here I see there's something called add drop, then there's something called update drop. So what I wanted to do is I want to park this generated content next to this particular line itself. So essentially, I wanted to update this line, all of these columns. So I go back, let's click on update drop, and over here, this time, either I can choose my spreadsheet from the whole spreadsheet list, or I can follow one more good method. There is something called select from all. Right, so if I click on this, it is asking me to provide spreadsheet ID. So I can go here, pick this particular spreadsheet ID right from here itself, go back, paste it. So this is how also you can, if you don't know the path, if you don't know that where the Google sheet is saved, in that case you can straightforward go and put the spreadsheet ID as well. Then here we have to choose the sheet. Now it is asking us for the raw number. So when the raw number is going to come from, it will come essentially from the first module, which is giving us this whole output. See here, raw number is also available. Let's begin paste like this. Now, should we map anything in column A? Yes or no? Shall we add anything on column A? Well, some people say yes. Anyone who says yes, please focus, put your attention again. The answer is no, because we already have our content idea parked here. Like when we started this whole exercise, we parked a couple of content ideas and through which our content is generated. So we don't want to update anything on this column A, right? So let's leave it blank. In column B, very straightforward. Facebook post can come here, Instagram can come here, LinkedIn can also come here. See how easy it is to drag and drop things and interconnect things very well. Image link, we have something called here data, and inside data there is something called URL. Right? And finally, on the column F, we have to change status to post folder, ready for review. What if we don't do this? What will happen? If I don't change the status ready for review, what do you think will happen? Any guesses? It will get into a loop. Yes, Shanawaz, that's absolutely right. So it will keep on generating the same content, same post again and again and again. So we have to change status because our first level of status is where we said pick any line which has generated content as the prime status. Now if I click on run once, let's see what happens. So what we wanted is we are creating content for this particular post which says premium sportswear, this particular shoes which called Metro Runner, and it's a women edition which is launched recently by this particular brand. So I go here, let's take a look. So now content is being generated. The whole content comes like this. Image is also getting generated now. Let's have a look. Image generation generally takes a little while, but then I can take a quick water break. Okay. Perfect. It is done. And everything should have updated over here. See, This whole content came out like this. Obviously not fragmented, not properly formatted for now, but yeah, see something pretty good, pretty basic. Let's take a look at the image. I'm always curious, like what kind of GPT generate by GPT? Oh, not good at all. Why so? I think this would have been created to something else. Let me see if I even mapped. I mapped the content ID over here, and what came out from here is urban slide. Little strange. Let me see the prompt. Footwear goes here. Okay, strange. Let's try one more time. In case you don't find your good results, I'll change it to generate content again, and let's give it one more try. A little misleading, I think it would have taken the prompt as the requirement. Okay. The content is already here. This time well formatted, even with certain hashtags and all. And yeah, this reminds me to something. See, in case if you're not happy with any of these content or image or something else, you can always go back and regenerate content or regenerate image specifically right from here itself. See, this time everything come back again. And here we have control column status also updated, ready for review. Let's take a quick look on the image. Perfect. See here, the particular shoes came out in a good shoe effect as well as there's a metro theme and couple of other things. Content on this specific post may not be good, may not be accurate, but the whole idea is about getting this image out. Right? So this is happening over here. Now I can review this, I can make any changes over here, and then I can plan for posting of this entire content on social media. Now, for that part, what I can do is either I can create a complete new automation workflow where I say if I review this content, if my status gets changed to approve and create post, in that case, it can simply go and create post on all those social media platforms. But what makes is you don't have to do like second automation workflow creation, right? You can optimize the current one or you can make it a little more advanced. You can accommodate both the automations into the same workflow. Why? Because both of them are having input content getting in or coming in from the same Google Sheet. So essentially what happens, in first one, I just wanted to grab this content of idea and run through this to generate post and image. In the second part, when I change it to something called approve and create post, in that case, I want to grab all of these content and create a post on social media. So essentially, both of the things are coming from the same Google Sheet. So if I click on this, what I can do is, for now, I'm getting only the ideas, only the lines which has the status is equal to generate content. I can add another rule which is called even if the column as status is going to be approved and create post, then also it should get that particular content and give it to me in this automation workflow. So I click save. That is part one. Second is I can add a router over here or a router over here to have two different lines or two different execution sequences. One is to generate content and second is to post content. So what make allows is you can simply click on middle of these three dots or these two modules, right click and there's something called add a router. So if I click on this, see here what happens. Now there is a router and this becomes my first rule. The first process sequence which I can get done multiple tasks based on whatever conditions, whatever pre-configurations I have done over here. At the same time, I can also accommodate or incorporate one more process here. I can simply click on add and see what happens. Now there is a second route available. So if content has to be generated, it should go on this direction. If it has to be distributed, it can go on this direction. Because content is coming from the same module, from the same source of Google Sheet. So if I click on this, see here, what we want to do is, first of all, distribute this thing on Facebook. And as soon as I type in Facebook over here, we see Facebook as a standalone app available. Facebook pages, lead forms, lead ad, conversion, insight, messages, so many things are there. What we are concerned is something called Facebook pages. If I click on this, see, within pages, you get to see multiple actions which you can control in Facebook using APIs. So essentially over here I have list post, get reaction, create a post, create post with multiple photos, update them, delete them, like, unlike, plenty of things. Even we can create photo-based post, video-based post, some reels as well. Even comments can be created itself. So in case you want to comment on someone else's post or maybe on your post or something, reply comments, that can be done right from here itself. Even reels can be published right from automation itself. So these kind of things. Now, what we are concerned is this one is called create a post. Let's click on this. And here you have to add your connection. So if I click on this add connection, I can give it a name. I will say 17th August class connection. I'm not sure if my Facebook is working on the browser. Let's see. As easy as that, click on save, it will open this kind of window, click continue, and your Facebook connection will be done. That easy, that straightforward. And as soon as your Facebook is connected, it will fetch all the pages that you have in your authority or where you are the admin. So see here, connection is done. I can click pages and I get to see all the page which I control. So it's something called grow stacks. I just chose. Now here I have to map the message. The message content comes from column B, very straightforward. Link is going to come from column E, which has link of that particular image. And that's it, what you have to do. That's it, nothing more than that. So click save. Your Facebook module is configured to get content from Google Sheet and it is going to post it on Facebook. Same way, I can add something over here. It's called Instagram. Let's click on this. Instagram also got plenty of them, like create photo post, reel post, carousel, many more things, right? What we wanted to do is create a photo post. So let's click on this. Now, since both Facebook and Instagram are coming from Meta, so in that case, you don't have to create a separate connection for Instagram. It is by default taking this connection as well as the page. And here I can map the photo gallery. So column E, red drop, that's done. Caption is actually the post content is going out. Over here, I have caption in column B, column C, that's it. Even I can have like location I can type or maybe users I can type, it's all fine, but I don't want to do it now. So let's click save for this. This is how easily we connected Facebook and Instagram right inside this entire automation workflow. Now it's done for LinkedIn. So let's click on LinkedIn. Over here we got LinkedIn module, and the fortunate good thing of LinkedIn is not custom app actually. This is a LinkedIn verified app. Over here, the fortunate good thing is LinkedIn provides you API control for your personal account as well. So it says, see here, create a user text post. That means a user account text post, video post, image post, and so on. Even you can control your organization level or company level post on LinkedIn right from here itself. Plus, there are plenty of other things like you can get follower statistics, time bound statistics, and so other things. Right? Now, what I'm interested in is my personal account LinkedIn post right from this automation workflow. So let's click on create a user image post. I click this, see what happens. It tells me the LinkedIn connection. So I have already done the LinkedIn connection. If not, I can simply click on add, go to LinkedIn, connection date I can put as 17th August, and then click save. Over here, it is going to open my LinkedIn. I can simply sign in over here, and let's see, connection is done. I don't even have to do any single click. The whole connection is done. See, 17 hours connection is right here itself. That is it, that's straightforward. But there is a roadblock over here. The roadblock is, it is asking me to upload a file because I chose create a user image post. That means it says image should be there. So in case of Facebook and Instagram, they can take image right from the link we generated from OpenAI, from the image name. But in case of LinkedIn, it says get me the file name, get me the file data, actually upload it so I can grab this file. So different softwares have different kind of let's say requirement. Someone can take a file from link, someone wanted to have a file to be uploaded actually on the system. But you may wonder like from where this model is going to get file, because the file is stored on OpenAI server. At the same time, you don't have this platform, this main platform working on your local system. Like it's not connected with your C drive or D drive. You can't map it directly from here. It's all working on cloud. And when we say it is automation, that means it is working even without you keep your system open or you keep your entire browser open all the time. It has to work automatically. So essentially, there is no way we can get this file over here, which is generated by GPT. So what I can do is, I can simply click cancel for now and troubleshoot or to handle these kind of things. What Make has a universal module I can right click between these two and say add a module. There is something called HTTP, right? This HTTP. This is a kind of one-stop solution for hundreds of problems. So HTTP is something where you can do custom API calls, we can do make kind of authentication, as well as inside there it has a module called get a file, which is download a file from given URL. Don't get confused. It is not going to download file on your local system. It will get that file inside make.com environment, so it can be used by the LinkedIn module. So let's click on this, and right here, what it is asking us, simple file URL that we already have inside our column E. Let's click save, and that's it. Now, if you go back and open this LinkedIn module, see it is automatically or smartly taking file from this HTTP, because HTTP is getting file inside the environment, and now LinkedIn knows there is a file available from HTTP, so I should directly take it from there. I should not ask for the file again, file is automatically there. So that's there. After that, it is asking us for the content of the post. So content we have in column D, and apart from that, we can also do some more configurations. Visibility of this particular post, I want to keep it public, or it can go only to my connection, viewable only by the logged in members. Then it has something called distribution on main feed or nowhere, and is reshare disabled or enabled. So that reshare is by default not disabled. Right? So that's what we can configure. Let me change this connection to 17 hours one more time, and that's it. Click save. If this shows this kind of a small dot value must not be empty or something, go back and save one more time, and it's done over here. So this is the entire automation workflow that we built. Now, there is a small catch or small constraint that we did not handle. See, I told you earlier, in case now we have two kind of content coming in into this automation workflow. One where it has generate content, and second where it is approve and create post. All the generate content requests should go on this particular route, follow these three steps. And all the distribution part, approve and create post, should go on this particular route. Right? But we did not handle any sort of filtering, any sort of restriction. And now, even if generate content comes in, it can flow here as well. Or if I say approve and create post, it can go here as well. Right? That will be unnecessary loop and unnecessary usage of modules. What I can do is, between these two, this is thing I can click, and I can apply additional filters over here. So let's say if I choose condition, I'll say if my control F column status is equal to generate content, then only it should follow this particular route, otherwise not to follow. Right? It will just block it here itself. And if my post status or column F status is equal to approved and create post, then in that case it should follow through that particular route, not the above one. Right? I hope we are clear with this. It's a little slight technical stuff, but I hope you will get it after this much of discussions on this whole flow. Now we are good to run this flow, and we can put or we can create post over here. So how many of you think I'm missing something in this whole flow? Am I missing something? Or we are good to go? Okay, yes. Great. I'm glad, honestly, this 2.5 hour, 3 hours of effort is actually yielding result. Most of you say, yes, we are missing something. That means you got the whole crux, you understood how the system is being built. We are missing to update the status after making this whole post. Right? So if we don't update status, what will happen? It will keep on sending that same post again and again and again. So great guys, thank you very much for your attention. That made my whole session actually. So for updating this, I can just add on the module, Google Sheet, update raw. I can grab this entire spreadsheet ID from here. This is the quick trick what I do. I can go here, select from all, spreadsheet ID, and over here we have sheet name. I can just choose spreadsheet name, which is demo for class 17. Raw number is coming from the first module over here, which is like this. And in this case, I don't have to update anything in column A, B, C, D, E, right? Because they all already have content, which is either the idea or generated by the upper string, right? The above flow. So essentially what I have to do over here is the last one update, which will be posting that. That's it. And whenever this whole flow will work, when the successful completion will happen, it will automatically mark that as posting is done. I don't have to do anything else. So now this becomes the complete flow, which can generate content and this can also distribute the content on your social media platforms. Now let's give it a try. Let's run it once. What we have over here is something called upload and create post. So essentially, this post should go out, or maybe let's do this one once. Let's see what happens. See, this time it is moving to downwards. It did not went up. Why? Because the status coming in from there is called upload and create post, which is not equal to generate content. That's why it did not follow through this particular route. Here it passed because upload create post is equal to upload create post. It is moving towards the down road. And the Facebook post is created. See here, the post ID came out like this. Then Instagram post also created. Sorry for that. The post ID is here. Same with LinkedIn and status should have updated to posting done. Let's go and quickly check all of these platforms. So when we started, this was our first Diwali celebration. Now let's see. Perfect. See here, just a minute ago, this post came out with this full content. Where Instagram went, okay, over here. Let's run this again. Wow, 3 likes, 1 comment. You guys are super fast. Someone is amazing, guys. Great. So this has all these hashtags and everything. And let's go to LinkedIn as well. Let's toggle this off. Posting activity. And over here, just now, 11 likes, 1 comment. Amazing speed, you guys. You're even faster than automation, I would say. Okay, a beautiful looking post came out like this with all of these hashtags and everything. If you wanted me to do one more, let's say Cloud9 shopping brand is there, kitchen apparel. Let's do Cloud9 generate content. Let's run this whole thing one more time. This time it's going upward because the generate content is there, and this way we are sending it to. So whole content comes out like this. It's good. Image is being generated and it's going to get put into Google Sheets. So the hours of work can now be done in minutes, I would say in seconds. All you have to do is essentially ensure that image quality goes good. You review this content and everything seems to be working fine. See here, a well-curated post for all 3 platforms, and there is an image as well. Let's see before posting how it look like. Okay, Monsoon Magic Sale is there, and it's a contemporary clothing brand which has a couple of good theme and couple of clothings over here. Looks good. Let's go and say upload and create post. And if I go back, let's give it one once. And this time it is moving down. Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and they should do the whole posting work. Do you have? I must say you should have a question. Manish, you are keep on coming here on this interface and you click on this run once and the automation works. This is not a true automation, right? If I supposed to come all the time over here again and again and again, then it is not an automation. It always has to be done by human. So does anyone have any answer? Let me know in the chat quickly. But yeah, apart from that, let's see what happened here. Perfect. This post also came out on Instagram. Let's have a quick look. 9 likes, 6 comment, amazing. Within 32 seconds, I think that's a record. Hardly 32 seconds and these many reactions. Okay, amazing. And let's take a look at even LinkedIn. Perfect. See, things are coming in here. A well curated post came out with Cloud9 fashion and this is exciting. So 60% sales. Again, I'm telling you, you can even use your own images over here. So you don't have to depend upon OpenAI generated or GPT generated image. Simply go here, put your image on not on Google Drive, essentially on something like ImageKit or some sort of a cloud service. Get an open public URL, put it here, and then that image is also going to work for you. Right? So your own curated image. Now, yes, most of you answered right. If I have to or I supposed to come back again and again to run this whole automation, there is no point in making or calling it an automation. So what made it is, and even any of the other automation workflow, they all have something called a scheduling facility over here. So if I click on this, CUC by default is called run every 15 minutes. There are several advanced options available to schedule automation workflows. By default, it says run at regular interval and I pass this or write for this 15 minutes. It can go as small as like 1 minute interval, so every minute it can keep on working. I can make it 60 minutes, I can make it 600 minutes, I can make it 6,000 minutes as well. Whatever you want, you can put it and automation workflow will work like that. Now imagine if I say it is going to run every 60 minutes and this is not the use case, it can be something different. I want to run it only on during my office hours, which is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the second is they should only run on the weekdays from Monday to Friday, not on Saturday Sunday. In that case, you can click on advanced scheduling, go here, define a time which says, let's say 9 a.m. right here itself until 5 p.m. We are almost 6 p.m. now. And then see here, the time zone also comes Asia Calcutta. So because I choose India while creating my account, it is coming as Asia Calcutta. Otherwise, this will be something else. I can also choose which days to work. So all these days until Friday, not Saturday Sunday. I can even define the months as well. Right? So this kind of advanced scheduling can be done. I can run it every day as well on a predefined time. Let's say run it on 10 a.m. every day. This can be 10 a.m. 10 p.m. I can run on specific days of the week, days of the month, specific dates for the year, or even on demand when I click and then it should run. So these kind of configurations can be done, and once you do it, if I say save, activate scenario, now this automation will work automatically without you touching the system, even without you opening make.com on your browser at all, right? It's all working on cloud, will happen, everything will happen automatically. What you have to do essentially, just change the status over here. If I wanted to, let's say, create a new post, this will automatically happen tomorrow at 10 a.m. So that, I think with that note, I hope you got it a good session, good understanding about automation, about this whole post created on all of these platforms like this. And yeah, we are close to the session. I hope it was not too overwhelming for you guys. Many reviews that when I saw, I was still reading that Manish, I'm getting confused or it is going over my head and so on. So those kind of absolutely expected things. But yeah, that's that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mani, for this. Folks, if you absolutely love what you learned over the last 3 hours, drop in MB on the chat. Mind blown on the chat. And of course, I also did see a few people mentioning that this is something that you're not understanding right away, but 90% of the people got it really, really well. And as Manish was asking questions, all of you were able to give the right answers as well, which was amazing. But folks, what I want, amazing, amazing to see that response on the chat. But this was just the starting point, right? This should be the starting point for everyone. Like I mentioned earlier before the session as well, automations is something that you will only be able to do as you keep practicing, right? And what you saw today is actually an example or a very, very basic example of what an automation scenario can look like. Manish, would you also want to show everyone what real automations would look like, which companies are actually asking for as of today? Because I'm sure a lot of people here
Absolutely.
want to learn this skill and then be able to monetize that as well.
Absolutely funny. So see guys, this was one of the basic automation use case which you may not want. That's fine. Maybe multiple steps can be added. This can be refined to even a next good level. But to grab a good exposure to the automation thing. But this is not the actual use cases what we do day in day out. There are plenty of like we are currently managing over 500 different business accounts on Wave.com, and let me show you a few of them. Some sort of this is a company called the Net, which is from US. I'll show one of the automation vector from them. As well as we have one more client in India itself that's called VLS. So two practical automation workflows that we have built and that actually yield result for these people, these organizations, and that's why they pay for they invest into automation. So first of all, this is a company called VLS, and what they wanted is they are into education product selling, that too like kind of education content selling. And this is the automation flow that we created for them, quite nested, having almost 250 modules or steps connected over here. Right? What it does, it actually deliver content. So whenever they create any deal inside the CRM, see here, this is called Zoho CRM over here, connected with the webhook. And as soon as the deal is created, it assesses like what kind of product is that. It connect with Google Sheet with a basic kind of database or some sort of module connectivity, reconciliation. Then it goes with this animated video, other product, some sort of control product and all. Then it goes iterate the product requirement, chapters or sort of things. It goes to Google Drive, select which files to be shared or delivered to the person, engage Outlook, engage Microsoft Teams. Even it is engaging like Interact kind of platform which provide official WhatsApp APIs. So see here, this whole thing is being structured to send the confirmation to the buyer, to the person who purchased it. And along with this, body is connected like Facebook conversion API, where we report each and every conversion. Whenever someone makes a purchase, we have to submit this event to Facebook so they can improve the whole experience, ad experience, or optimize the ad experience, right? So this is what is happening behind the scene, and literally this saved them two full-time headcounts, two people who are just working along to fulfill approximately 60-70 deals per day. Now it is being done by automation, and those people did not lost a job, right? They actually got deployed into something better than this. So the clerical effort went off. That 8 hours of process now became 24 by 7 delivery, and any salesperson can make any sales anytime without wondering like whether the product will be delivered or not. One of them. The second part, it's a US-based company that is called the Netadel, and they sell golf practice equipment. So what we did for them, they are selling their things on two platforms. One is called Amazon in US and Canada, and second is their own Shopify e-commerce store. Now they are making approximately 10,000 sales, like different orders every year. So about 1,000 orders every month. And they deployed one accountant just for the order-based accounting. So whenever there's an order comes in, we should capture that order into their books of accounts, right? You know, Tally or these kind of softwares where you have to create invoices. And they have even furthermore requirement, they wanted to see a product level profit and loss account. So whenever a sale happens, they want to like distribute discount, they want to distribute shipping cost and so on. That accountant was fully drawn into this process. What we did, we connected Shopify. So it captured all the orders which are paid and fulfilled, reconcile them with a Google Sheet kind of database, then check whether the customers exist in QuickBooks. So QuickBooks is their accounting system. Then it goes, if customer does not exist, it's going to create them. If it exists, it will search, then do certain things, create the search for items inside QuickBooks, create an invoice with some sort of basic coding, not much, but see here this kind of structure, and then it create a payment inside QuickBooks. It also go for shipping cost allocation, discount allocation, and run through multiple accounting entries automatically without accountant being touching this whole automation. That's the process, right? So shipping JV is there, discount JV is there, and so on. So this also saved them one accountant who was working in this revenue accounting, cost distribution, payment capture, and almost $4,000 of saving. I mean, $4,000 or $5,000 of saving every single month for that particular client. So this is what happening, and I can show you maybe 1,000 more such automation workflows different for two businesses. Yes, someone asked if SAP Oracle can be connected. Yes, SAP Oracle can also be connected over there. Yes, Mani, please. Go on.
No, I was just answering that question itself. And a lot of you are asking very specific questions at this point of time. Let me tell you this, right? Most of the questions that you are all asking, whether this integration is possible, whether this workflow can be automated, the answer to most of your questions is yes. But you have to open a platform like make.com and go ahead and try first. And when you look at these flowcharts, right? Somebody was also asking how much time would it have taken to build something like this. You know, if you, yeah, Manish, do you want to talk about it?
Absolutely, Mani. Yes, I am not sure like what you were about to say, but guys, the one which we built just before the session was kind of a capo, right? We did in hardly 1 hour, 2 hours time. Why? Because I invested good amount of time and effort while learning this platform. Almost 6 years of time happened. Like I started in 2019 after a good career of about 10 years, and then that career switch was happened. 2019 until 2025, approximately 6 years gone, and now I built this kind of proficiency where I can build Any of these automation in less than 1 day, or the automation which I show you, the social media, could be in half an hour. But what is the key of this whole, let's say, expertise? Is the practice. Right? So I'm keep on practicing these things again and again and again, and that's how we are managing 500 clients on Wave.com, build thousands of workflows, and that's where this thing comes in. So, funny, you please continue. I just added this over here.
No, I was going to say the same that today if you think the social media management automation that we have built, that Manish was teaching you while building that, and that is why it took 3 hours. But otherwise, it is the skill that matters, right? Once you practice the skill, and as you saw in this session, it's more about the logical part than just learning the tool, because you can do something like this. Let's say today you got introduced to make.com, but you could do this on anything, you could do this on any other automation tool as well. But it's the logic or the logical flow that really matters, and of course, the skill of knowing the tools very, very well. I like the fact that all of you are asking a lot of questions. We will, of course, not be able to take all the questions in the interest of time, but Manish, if you have to give everybody an advice in terms of how they can start practicing. And by the way, Manish has also recorded a lot of resources for all of you, and I'll talk about that very, very soon so that you can practice. But Manish, any piece of advice that you may want to give to everyone, and I'll also take the liberty of dropping your LinkedIn profile link on the chat. I'm sure people would want to connect with you and probably reach out to you as well. So, folks, you can all go ahead and connect with Manish if you are looking to learn automations. You can take Manish's support as well. But Manish, any closing thoughts that you may want to share with everyone?
Absolutely, Bunny. So as I said, like the practice part, right? So when I started, I was also asking these kind of questions, and that time there was no support available. These days you have AI, these kind of masterclass, you can get at least some good direction. But the whole idea is the practice part, and why we say you don't have to think about these kind of large scale automation workflow. You should start your things with a basic use case. See, imagine like you just want to play around with some tool, you can have any fun kind of thing, right? Maybe just few modules. Let's try to connect this and that, and let's see what happens. So get into this kind of mindset. Try to explore what you can automate with your personal life, with any software you're using day in, day out. Try to explore their API documentation, how they look like, are they able to connect with Make or another or something like that? Yes, no, and all. And then build basic automation to start with maybe one tool, two tools, keep on expanding it to four, five, plus seven, ten, and so on. Right. The core idea behind this whole thing is once you interact with any of these tools, any of these basic automation workflows, the fundamentals are going to be repeated all the time. So once you clear them, once you master them, you can build any automation workflow. I told you at the start, it is as good as learning how to drive a car. And once you learn it, you can take it anywhere. Not necessarily you should take it always to the social media automation. You can take it to anywhere, how I shown you. So any use case can be done, any problem can be solved. You can save a lot of time to people, to businesses, to yourself. So start with practicing with basics and keep on doing that. That's it, funny. I think.
Wonderful. I can see that a lot of love is coming your way on the chat. Manish, thank you so much
Thank you.
for doing this and helping so many people get started with their journey in automations and AI as well. Thank you so much.
And I'll say, Bunny, you guys made my Sunday because these 3 hours, I don't see a single drop in the participant. It was
Yeah,
all 6,000 at the start, it's still all 6,000 at the end.
correct.
So, great. I love
This I
more
have
now
to
to
do this.
this automation. Yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful.
great. Thank you
All
very much.
right,
Have a
and
great
we will go on
Sunday.
from here.
Sure. Thanks a lot,
Awesome.
everyone. Bye bye.
Bye, Manish. Bye. All right, folks. With